Professional wrestling has just got a little bit busier this weekend. CM Punk came on to Rampage to change the wrestling world. Smackdown had to deal with some business for SummerSlam. We might have had a match that didn't even happen, but we're getting that instead. We've got so much to deal with. Let's just jump into it. It's the Smack Attack. We're back live. We're not behind a paywall today. We're here for the people, for the fans, by the fans, as we are advertised normally for that there. And Money James McIver, alongside my partner in crime, John Enright. How we doing, my man?
Doing well.
I've got the Hawaiian shirt on. It's summertime. Ready to go.
Ready to go. Yeah, I was out doing a mobile pantry this morning, handing out food to people in 90-something, 100-degree weather. It's just awesome, let me tell you. I got my sweat on that way, so... Can I skip my gym time? Can I skip my gym time for doing that? So, it's been good. It's been a good week. Just lots, been busy with school. Started back up here in Texas. So, and then of course running our after school program and everything with the nonprofit. So just busy week, but good. But I'm ready to get started. We got some good stuff today, my man.
Hey, we've got some good stuff. We've got a full house today. That's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of Smack Attack I'm liking. The biggest week in wrestling this year has to be met with the biggest Smack Attack this year so far. And it's not just myself. It's not just John Enright. It's a fan favorite that's coming back on the show. Everybody loves it when he comes on. It's the one. It's the only. From the Impact Attack, from the Next Level podcast, it's our man, the vet, Jamie Williams. How we doing, brother? Welcome back.
Hey, fellas. See any good debuts lately?
Been a bit boring,
Some boring ones on the other night.
Just thought I'd come visit with you guys. Invited myself for a change. Not filling in for anybody, just hanging out. Thought I'd chit chat with you guys before you got into the body of the show. So here I am.
Got a little bit excited when you sent the message to me this morning. I was like,
I know. Yeah, he told me, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. So.
I'm button myself up a little bit.
There you go. We don't need your James Bond chest hair. All right, come on. You're not Connery.
Oh, come on now.
No, you can't. No.
Oh, that's just...
Come on, man. Connery's Connery.
Right in the self-esteem there, John.
Connery's Connery. I mean, nobody's Connery except
No
Connery.
one's topping Connery. No. People have tried, but no, I'm just in holiday mode now. SummerSlam's here. I'm on holiday on Monday. I'm away for a week. It's great. So I've got my beer and everything. It's going to be a lovely time. We've got so much to talk about, but there's some big stuff happening in the world of professional wrestling in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
John Enright, you've brought ourselves a friend of ours who's got a big match coming up next weekend. Is it the
next
28th?
weekend? August 28th. Well, let's just go do it. We're gonna introduce him right now, ladies and gentlemen. The male Latin nurse, Cruz. Let's bring him on the show. Let's go ahead and get him talking about all this.
What's up?
Chris Cruz right here. He has joined us. So guys, if you don't know Chris Cruz, he is a hot talent here in Texas. I mean, literally, look at him, ladies. Hello. And he is the Latin male nurse. So he comes out and, with the whole stethoscope gimmick and, the very nice shorts that come out.
Yeah, they're really nice shirts. Shout out to Tanya Dunbar. She's the one who does my gear.
Yeah, you have really on point gear. So next week, August 28th, you are with Lucha Brute. You are facing ASF for the Great State title. What explain to me, for those who don't know, what does that title mean to Lucha Brute?
So that title means a lot to Lucha Brute. So in the very first beginnings of Lucha Brute, it was a 28, 32-man tournament to get to the finals. So I was able to go undefeated all the way until the end. I just signed Fuego del Sol in the main event of the end of the tournament for that title. So the Great State title means a hell of a whole lot for it, because as opposed to, I guess, I don't know how maybe different promotions do it other than Texas, but sometimes it seems to be a lot of promotions will generally, already have on their initial debut, will have a title, will have something to show, and immediately crown somebody. But this was a very long story that was told by Lucha Brute that I think went over very well. So there's a lot of pride behind the Great State title.
Okay, and so you're coming up against. So this is your second attempt at getting the title. Is that correct? So
No, so I was the first champion.
Oh, you were the first champion. Okay.
So I mean, I guess in general, then I guess that would be my second attempt, because my first attempt would be the when I won it, and then the second attempt would be this weekend then. I'm sorry, next weekend, 28th. My apologies.
28th. No, that's 28th. That's cool. Now the venue is a very unique venue, Lola's Trailer Park in Fort Worth, and you have to be 21 and over to go. So obviously, if you're not watching the video, Chris has got his kid, so obviously his kid can't come. My son can come. But it's a really unique venue. Tell us a little bit. Have you been to the venue? Have you checked it out? What is it like?
No, I'm not local to Fort Worth, actually in Central Texas. But I've seen all the photos that Rogelio has sent me and all the flyers that they've been sending out of it, and it looks pretty phenomenal. It looks like a lot of those nicer outdoor venues, like kind of like bar grill patios. And luckily, it's an outdoor. There's plenty of space for people to stay separated within themselves to try to run as safely and as best as we can.
Yeah. Now, which is a great venue. It's near downtown, the 7th Street area, which is, big vibe in the Fort Worth area. So it's very, very cool. Chris, now, I saw you at Pele Pro Wrestling. You're here at Lucha Brutale. Lucha Brutale on the card, they have you're going to have a pre-show beatdown with Mr. Wobble, Casey Clay, Bane Bailey, Red Chambers. Northern Joy is going to be the ring announcer. Prince Adam's going to be there. They just announced Vert Vixen and Jasmine Allure.
Yep.
So when people come to a Lucha Brutale show, what can they expect?
I think they can expect something that's not like their modern, or rather not modern, not the commonplace sort of wrestling. So Lucha Brutale was definitely founded on, it's within the name of itself. Brutal, meaning not as like lucha brutal, but how brutal the fight is. Lucha libre in Spanish means like a free fight. So it represents the difficulty in not just wrestling, but in life in general. To get to that, for the grind and the work that the wrestlers, promoters, everyone involved puts into the show. So when fans come to a Lucha Brutale show, it's something that they're not going to see at the same show, that runs the venue 2 blocks down. Not the same sort of talent, not the same sort of excitement, experience that they would see anywhere else. That was definitely one of Rogelio, the promoter's main goals, was definitely not to be. He didn't want fans to sit in a place and be like, oh, well, if I don't make this show, I can just watch the next one, because the same people being there,
Right. Okay. That's very cool. And so, being that this is such a unique promotion to Texas, how do you feel like? I know because I want to talk about this. You did train at Fale Dojo. You've been out, so I'm assuming you've done shows outside of the state of Texas as well. What is it about Texas wrestling that seems to be drawing people in? What is it about it, just in general, that because all of a sudden all these shows are coming, people are coming everywhere from all over the place, to come wrestle in Texas. What do you think it is about Texas wrestling that's drawing them in?
So I don't know if necessarily anything has changed. For as long as I've been wrestling here in Texas, I think the talent has still been phenomenal every which way. I think what I heard from older wrestlers as well is that I guess Texas, which before I had traveled out of the state, Texas had a like a black label on it. Like people were like, oh, don't go to Texas, it's not worth it, this and that. So I think eyes were purposely not focused in on Texas, despite the great amount of talent and shows that were still there. And I think thanks to, shows like Lucha Brutale, heavy metal wrestling, Gulf Coast wrestling, a lot of places that are bringing in, names that were making waves in the States, helped bring eyes. And then those same eyes realized how great Texas wrestling is, and that it's never changed. It's never, became bad, had a decline or anything like that. It's just now the whole world sees how phenomenal Texas wrestling is. There's just so much talent and so much variation and sort of training and skills. Just, I don't know, maybe it has to do with just how big Texas is, it's such a vast majority. You're going to see different wrestling down south than you're going to see in Fort Worth. You're going to see different sort of wrestling just in between San Antonio and Austin, between the death matches that, Heavy Metal runs. And then in Austin as well, there was a Party World Wrestling, which was a whole theatrical sort of wrestling. So it's like a lot of different flavors that you can get out of it, I think.
Sure.
For everybody.
That's good. Now, So Chris, let's talk about a little bit about Fale Dojo because I'm a New Japan Mark, vet. I know you're kind of into New Japan as well. One, how did you get there? Like, because that's in New Zealand. So one, how did you get there? And two, what prompted you to go there and be a part of that?
So what it was originally, I had a very, and I think I'm totally, I think as egotistical as it might sound, I think I had a very great 2019 year. I was definitely doing as many shows as I was, hitting as many promotions, wrestling a lot of bigger and better names. And I had the opportunity, a good friend of mine at the time had notified me about it, saying like, hey man, they're doing a dojo. And he had done the LA dojo there in California as well, and some other tryouts in New Japan. And I was just thinking about it. I was like, man, you just got to go all in. You got to try to see what will happen. And so and their classes are small. I think they, at the time, they were limiting it. I think it was 10, 12, I believe it was.
Oh, wow.
And so I had first emailed them about it. It happened to be pure happenstance. They're like, hey, we just had somebody drop out, so there's an open space if you want it. I think this was like 3 weeks before leaving. So I booked a flight. Yeah, I booked a flight, had to cancel a few things, quit my job, and flew over there I'm very blessed to have the support that I have with my family, and went over there to learn from the best.
Wow. So what's Fale's training like? What is that, the dojo like there? I mean, because I'm friends with Bear Brown, and he's told me a little bit about what Shibata's like in New Japan at the LA dojo and stuff like that. What was it like there? What is his training style like? Is it like old school you hear from some of these wrestlers where they just kind of wear you out and beat you out to see if you want to do it? Or is there a little bit, you're going to get some conditioning in, but we're going to be teaching you some skills and things along those lines as well?
I think if I had to pick from that, it'd be the latter. But we definitely got the shit beat out of us all. But it was all within good. So in I guess a nutshell of how it went, we would wake up at 6:30ish, 7 o'clock sharp. We would clean the entire dojo. So the dojo, it's on 2 floors. The gym and the ring was on the bottom, and then where we slept was right upstairs. So the 10, 12 guys, we divvy up, clean the entire dojo, the room, vacuum, everything. At 7:30, we start stretches. We would go on a 3K run, then immediately come inside. Sometimes it was 100, 200 squats. Sometimes it was 1,000. We just wake up with all kinds of anxiety of what we're going to do.
God.
So
that sounds awful.
Yeah, it was rough. I definitely cried. And if I would, to be completely honest, I was texting my wife and my brother after the very first day. And I was like, man, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe I don't love wrestling as much as I want. Like, it definitely was a mental break. And I know I've heard a lot of people say, oh gosh, the train of thought ran off the rails just now. There was a quote that I was going to say that I hear people say a lot, but it definitely proved a lot of mental toughness and improved my own mental toughness for sure. So after that, all that was conditioning. And then, so that was probably 2 hours, 3 hours. And then after that was 2 hours, 3 hours of wrestling, grappling, training, I guess pro wrestling training in a sense. We would finish at around 2 to 3. We would have a break to do what we needed. We usually walk they had like a gym that had a pool. We would go and cool off and walk. Then usually every other night there was a kickboxing class. They also had general pro wrestling classes, like just for the public. And so we were required to do those classes as well. So it was like 3-4 hours of break, training, 3-4 hours of break, training, sleep, and do it all over again.
Wow. Cool. Oh, man. But do you feel better for having done it now? Like, really?
1,000%. I am grateful that I was there. I was grateful that I had the opportunity to go. And more, I guess for my own sake, I'm grateful that I didn't tap out. You know, I wanted to so bad. There were times I really wanted to so bad. But because right when I guess the peak of the pandemic there hit, the airports there in New Zealand were closing off, and I wouldn't be able to get back until I think they were saying like August, September, and I was there in March. I left at the end of March.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay. All right. So Chris, your gimmick is a Latin male nurse. How did you come up with this? Like, what was it that made you go, this is what I want to be when I come out to be a wrestler. What this is my gimmick. What made you pick that?
Off clothes, right?
Yeah.
So I actually got my it's actually, I don't know how much of a gimmick you tell him, Ross, you tell him. I don't know how much of a gimmick it really is. I mean, I am a Latin male. I was born in Monterrey, Mexico. I got my citizenship a week before my birthday and 2 days before I received my nursing license. So I am a registered nurse as well.
Okay. So it's real life then. It's not you're not living a gimmick. It is real life for you.
It is all me.
Okay, so is that your day job then? When you're not wrestling, are you at a hospital working?
Yes, I do. I worked in the emergency department for about 6.5 years, and after that I left. I'm in a different part of the hospital now. But yeah, that's what's helped me. Luckily. To provide for my family as well as still continue to be able to wrestle until we can make that signature.
Yeah, well, I mean,
has anybody ever come into the hospital and said, "Oh my God," I recognize you and say, "Oh my God, that's a shoot"?
I had I think 2 people in the entire time do that. 2.
Oh
really?
Man,
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Get a photo with them while they're in A&E.
So ultimately, obviously the ultimate goal is to get signed. Where's your preference? If you had a choice.
I know people will give WWE a lot of grief for a lot of decisions that they make. But to be perfectly honest, I think as long as I would still provide, pay my bills, pay what I need to for my son, I think anywhere would be honestly fine because wrestling's just so good everywhere. Like there's not like a place that's, at least in my opinion, a place that's bad to go anymore,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What have you done any what do they call it? Backstage work or extra work for WWE or AEW?
Yes. So I've done it for WWE, for Revolve, for Ring of Honor. I think the only places I haven't was for AEW and Impact, and those are the only places I have not worked with yet.
Okay. Which one was the best experience for you?
I think the WWE one was the best experience for me. We were able to do extra work. I mean, it's always fun there, right? They always get whatever random thing to it. And even though I wasn't able to have a match, it was still fun. We were in a conga line with No Way Jose, so that was still fun. And then the night after that, we had our tryout matches when they had their show here in San Antonio. So it's always funny when people try to. It's weird the way my mind works. So despite holding people's hands in my lives, I always take wrestling a lot more seriously. As weird as that sounds, but they'll be like, "Oh man, is that like a scary scenario? This and that. You're doing this?" I was like, "Man, I had to do my tryout match, on an empty stomach. I had gas in front of Randy Orton. I was like, no, this is nowhere near as stressful."
Well, it was quite interesting. I don't mean to jump in. It's quite interesting that you mentioned that you did a tryout while you were doing extra work. Did they just put it together as like a whole event? So like, oh, we want you to try out, but we also need extras for this event. We're going to get you all to do this at the same time, or is it a bit different how that works?
So that was my first time working with them. I don't know if they do it every time, but I think typically they, to my knowledge from other ones that worked extras, they try to do it. I want to say like most every time that they do it, because they gather up the extras. Usually a lot of the extras will know each other. They've worked each other before. I was lucky enough to work Justin Taylor from West Texas.
Okay.
Nice.
So we had a really solid match, and they really just like, hey, pair up with whoever you want. Got your 5 minutes right before the show, and then it's whoever's in the arena watching you.
Okay. So,
nice.
You mentioned you were in the ER for 6 years. So does that make anything you see in wrestling now no big deal? Because, I mean, let's be honest. Being in ER, you probably see some crazy shit in there. And so, pardon my French. But, then you go to wrestling matches, you see a guy like dislocated a finger or something, you're probably like, why are you crying about this? Is that hard?
I'll fix it.
No
bother.
There's definitely, I guess, my definition of crazy is definitely different from like most other people's definition of crazy. But I mean, I'm still human. I still see some things I'm like, oh shit, fuck. I guess it just varies. But definitely, I'll usually get that in the locker room. They're like, hey man, can you look at this? Can you look at this mole I have?
Oh, you get that kind of stuff. Oh man, God, you gotta tell them, no man, you go to see your doctor. I'm not your doctor. All right, so let's go back to Lucha Brute one more time. Let's talk about so you guys, is your you guys, that's next week, and the show, if I remember correctly, starts at 8, but the doors open at 7, if I remember correctly. All right, and so now let's talk a little about ASF for a little bit. Let's talk about your opponent. Now I know he's had the title for 570 days, so yeah, I mean it's time for him to lose that title, right?
I mean, count.
Yeah, and I mean, let's put it this way. I'm friends with Will all day, and Will said that, he needs to lose that title. He told me that Chris needs to take this title off of him. So, no pressure, but Will all day has said you need to take this title off of him.
Will said it.
Yeah, I know. So, but what have you wrestled ASF before?
I don't think I have. I was trying to think about it, and I don't think I have.
Okay. So have you watched any tape on what he does or how he is, or you?
Oh yeah, we've definitely run a lot of shows together, and we've been definitely on similar. Him, especially now at GCW, definitely surpassed where he had been when I first originally met him. Now, but yeah, no, I've seen the way he works. As a matter of fact, just the other day I watched his match that he had with Gino down in LWA.
Oh yeah, that was a good match. I actually watched that match because I'm a Gino mark. I love Gino. He at that Pele show, he just totally worked me and another friend of mine, thinking he was hurt. I was like, God damn it, man! And he's just such a good. He's so talented, and I mean, been doing it forever. So, how long have you been wrestling, Chris? For professionally now.
So it's an odd question. So, fun fact: my brother and I started training when I was 14 and he was 16. Down, and we grew up in San Angelo, Texas. Out in West Texas, actually. I don't know if he unfortunately recently passed away, but Sean Vex was one of my original trainers.
Okay, yeah,
as well. So I would say off and on between then college, and then I trained at a school there in San Antonio for about a year straight. So I counted after that, graduated from there from I would say about 2017. So if I would recount it from 2017 to now, so what was that 18, 19, 20, 21, 4 years, I would say, of continuous.
4 years of continuous wrestling.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest part?
Man, I think the hardest part is trying to understand rejection, that it's not just a no, but a no for right now, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely, as a matter of fact, I've had people that I've reached out to beforehand, to get no response, nothing of that. Then it's like, oh, big shows, out of state shows, come back. Like, oh man, I never saw this message or something like that. I'm like I'm not mad. I definitely don't ever carry any heat, but it's, it's one of those pills you got to swallow, as I guess probably any entertainer, honestly, anyone trying to find a booking, you're going to get no more often than you get yes.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Lance Romance. He's the one that says it the best, is you're not training to get ready, you stay ready.
Right. That's good. I mean, and that's got to be the hardest thing about, any kind of thing, because you're unlike us, where we maybe get a job and we're there for a week, or 6 months or a year, but you're having to basically try to get a job every weekend, essentially,
Pretty much.
So, all right, let's see. Is there anything else we want to promote before we move forward, Chris?
Well, I was going to say, you've got this match with ASF coming up. Have you got any words for him?
Yeah,
as you get into this match next week?
You want to cut a little promo on him right now?
Off the hizzy? Yeah. Oh, ASF knows what I think about him. He's a paper champion. You're 507 days champion with no defense. One defense that was out of baseball game, wasn't even an actual show. No.
That's a poor show. That's a poor
show. I worked hard to give that belt meaning for what it is, and he's parading it around like he earned it.
That dude, he needs to go. My money's on Cruz. My money's on Chris Cruz next week. So if you're going next week, make sure you check it out. Chris, are they going to broadcast it anywhere, like IWTV or Fight or anything like that? Do you know?
I want to say there is going to be something. If anything, I would bet maybe title match, maybe, but I'm not exactly sure. But I want to say there is something that's going to be for it to be broadcast. At the very least, I know that they always do have film and they do put it on YouTube. At the very least, I don't know if it'll be live or not, though.
Okay. All right. I'll get with Greg and make sure to see, promote that as well. If you're going to be live or if it'll be on YouTube, figure out how to do that. Sorry.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. So we're going to move forward, but you're more welcome to stay. and have put an opinion on everything that we're going to talk about today. Obviously, we're going to be talking about AEW. We're going to be talking about Smackdown. We're going to talk about everything that happened last night in the last couple of weeks. So,
Jesus,
which is a lot.
That's a week and a half.
So, obviously, your opinion is just as valid as ours, or even more so, because we're just marks, and you and the vet are professional. So, yeah. So you're more than welcome to stick and hang out. So let's see. James, take the reins.
Oh, don't put me in the reins of this carnage that's coming ahead of us. Should we just jump into like the biggest thing that everyone wants us to talk about this week?
Yeah, let's just do it.
And of course, last night CM Punk made his return to professional wrestling at AEW Rampage. 7 years. Or 16 years, depending on who you speak to, on that, since he's made his return to pro wrestling. That must have been the biggest pop I've ever heard in a professional wrestling sense. Potentially ever. Yeah. Maybe it's just the right crowd at the right time, but it was just a certain atmosphere. It was something a little bit different from about it. But just general thoughts of last night. What do you guys think of that? I thought it was just a brilliant atmosphere. They booked. I always felt AEW booked this well to a T, where they had this planned out. They didn't really say he was going to be there. They just put little breadcrumbs this whole time and built the anticipation to this moment last night, and it paid off in spades. Is this a kind of a key moment in pro wrestling now that we've got CM Punk back? Is it as big as everyone's been making out, or is this just maybe another signing that's come on for that? There, maybe that's a chat we've not a lot of people have had yet.
It can be a huge moment. This is a chance for AEW to sort of hit the reset button on all the stupid, corny stuff that they've been doing up to now. Yeah. Maybe if this had happened a year ago, CM Punk would have came out, and then somebody would have interrupted him in 30 seconds to start an angle. You know what I mean? That's what would have happened. That's probably happened on Dynamite a couple days before, right? So they didn't do that. They let the moment be exactly what everybody wanted it to be, what it needed to be. The announcers laid out at the start and just let everybody make the noise. It was a good moment. It was probably the best moment that you're going to get from American professional wrestling today.
Yeah,
just,
it was a special.
Just getting to sit there and let it breathe and just take it in and enjoy it. That's what we I say the royal. That's what we all wanted. So
it was like it was just sort of like a nice. It was like a recoupling of sorts, wasn't it? CM Punk kind of establishing his connection with the fan again. We've not seen him for. Essentially, if you take away the backstage stuff that he done with Fox, he's not been involved in wrestling for the longest time. And dare say he's not had a promo, he's not had matches in front of people, so he's never performed in front of a crowd for that time here, and he's been missed, and it clearly showed last night. So it was quite nice he had that moment of just reconnecting with the fan. Not as it was hard, but he got that time to just say hello, thanks for waiting. This is what this means. And I did quite like a little dig at WWE, but he worded it quite nicely when he said that in 2006 he quit professional wrestling, of course, WWE being sports entertainment, and it took him this long to come back to pro wrestling. So it was quite poignant that he put that out there. Maybe still a bit of bitterness between what happened 7 years ago, but again, the sentiment was felt. I think everyone got this feeling where it was CM Punk's back, but it was maybe a CM Punk that we saw way back when. That maybe setting the tone for that we're getting more of what he was before he went to WWE, more Ring of Honor and his independent run, and that sort of that style and personality that he had. So it's just it's maybe I'm not wording it well, but he's just completely laid out a table that he could do anything, and everyone will be waiting for him. And it was such welcome. It was really nice for that there. But Darby Allin's his first opponent, 2 weeks on Sunday. All out. Is it a good decision? Was it the right person to do the match for this one?
Oh, that's a good question, I guess. I'm really curious to see how this is even being just missing a week. It's hard to get back in sort of ring conditions. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do. I don't know if there would have been a bad choice. Honestly, I think the main focus is still going to be him no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think more people are excited about CM Punk on the mic than they are in the ring. You know, as a wrestler, he was good. He was entertaining. But what really people loved was his mic work. That to me was the thing that really stood out more than anything else. I mean, the angles he did, you know, like with Paul White and the Straight Edge Society, wearing the mask and then pulling the mask off, shaving heads, and then how he was able to do that. All that. The thing that was the same was him on the mic. The wrestling itself was. I'm not going to say good or bad. I could enjoy it, but I really enjoyed more his character work, his mic work, and everything along those lines. That's what drew people in more than anything else. So, him against Darby Allin, you know, it's one of those matches where I'm like, okay, I'll watch it just to see. But honestly, first match, it's hard because he's not gotten in the ring. Darby Allin is fresh. You know, and he does some pretty crazy stuff. And so to have CM Punk go into the first match with a guy like Darby Allin, who does crazy stuff, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
It does seem pretty handpicked as well, because he did speak about Darby Allin quite openly about how he was a fan of him and the matches that he had. So maybe it was a decision on his part just to have this match and say, I want this to be my first one. And it's paying it forward a little bit as well, you know. Someone of his name and establishment, he is given someone like Darby Allin, who's still relatively young in this industry, a great opportunity to work with someone with that name value. And if he has a great match, then it does wonders for him. So I suppose it's quite nice that he's paying it forward a lot. And he did say that as well. He wanted to do that. He wanted to work with talents like that, or younger names that are making their way up. So it is that paying it forward element for that there. Yeah, it's quite fun to see him back like this. What we thought sort of the fan response? Of course, AEW showed a lot of emotional fans for that there, which I think was quite refreshing. I know that the easy thing to do is to mock fans and for having tears or having emotions about something like this, but you know, when you connect with someone so much, or you're a fan of someone, you know, to be happy at something like that happened, it's quite right for them to do that, you know. And again, we've not had this sort of atmosphere in a long time, and we've been stuck with WWE stuff for a long time. And it's easy to bash them, but the decline of quality and the matches that we're having, it's clear to see. So when we see someone like CM Punk, it's not necessarily just seeing him back as a talent, but maybe just sort of this sign that everything's going to change again. That it's the second coming as such, maybe. Isn't
that exactly what we all want?
Yeah.
Like, Chris, as a wrestler, isn't that what you would have always wanted, is to walk into an arena and hear people chanting your name like that after they haven't seen you? They never stopped chanting his name, by the way. Like, they chanted every wrestling show for the past 7 years. They never stopped doing it. So, in that way, to your question about is this going to be a big change, I'll answer that question with a question. What is WWE going to ever do to top this moment and get people to react to anything that they're putting forward? You look at the counter programming aspect of it. Sorry to spoil what you guys are going to talk about later, but we're talking about this guy coming out to this emotional reaction, which is the whole point of wrestling, by the way, just once again to reinforce that point. Click over to the other channel. What do we see? We see a 40-year-old man in jorts jumping up and down, counting to 3 like it's fucking Sesame Street. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? What the hell are we doing here? What hope do we have that they're ever going to be able to deliver on the level of something that, you know, something like this? And I've been an outspoken critic of WWE on this show multiple times. Been an outspoken critic of AEW any chance I get. But here's the thing. AEW's mistakes are fixable.
Yeah.
Because you got a guy that's a super wrestling fan, and he's doing things differently as over time, and the time has not been that long. So there's already a difference in what you can see. We got CM Punk, we got Daniel Bryan coming in soon. Rewind back to when AEW first started, you got a guy with no legs. And you got Marco Stunt, you know, like these guys are getting pushed to the side for real performers now. You know what I mean? No disrespect to those individuals, but, you know, that was kind of like kids sitting at the grown-ups table for a minute, and now the grown-ups are back, and it's time for them to go back to the kids table. Well, the WWE, it's all a kids table, it looks like. Everybody's just sitting there having to deal with the creative that they're given. And if AEW can't surpass in like not in institution-wise, but in viewership and stuff like that, if they can't surpass WWE inside of a year, they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's a big move. That's a big move.
All right. Chris, I mean, I guess the question is, as I said, the goal is to get a pop like that. Have you ever experienced anything like that where people come out and cheer you yet?
No one's ever experienced anything like that, John. The Road Warriors didn't experience anything like that.
Definitely nothing to that extent. That reaction, it's like we were saying, like it's the whole point of wrestling to emit that reaction, and that he got that just from the walking out of this like phenomenal. It's like the utmost respect of it's like everyone has a different definition of success, and I think that's a pretty accurate way to describe it, in person. That's success in wrestling.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I'm just saying, like in general, like it's more of like what's that feel like when you have a crowd that much behind you? What does that feel like as a performer?
That's a high that you chase every night, every single night. That is like something out of this world. It's something where, I don't know, it's like cliche to say, which like the electricity in the air, you feel almost one with the crowd. Like everybody's in sync. Everybody's going for the same motion. You have the noise, the lights going on. It's a, I don't know, euphoric feeling. I don't know if I have words to describe it.
Yeah. Well, and that's good probably because there's no way to really describe it. You have to experience it yourself. And so, honestly, I think Punk is going to be good for AEW. I think he would have been good for AEW even if they said he's coming as a broadcaster role. Yeah. Let's be honest.
I'm just going to quickly jump in. Is anyone on live speaker just now? Just got a lot of comments on here. Just we've got a bit of echo going on at the moment. So if you make, if I politely ask you, if you do, just to turn it down just slightly, just so we can get you all sorted out for that there. Are we testing everything out here? How's that? Does that sound a bit better? Yeah, there we go. I think that sounds okay now.
Okay.
There we go. Chris is frozen.
Oh.
Hello, are you still there, Chris? He's gone silent, mate. I'll get him. Okay. We'll get him back hopefully in the next few minutes. For that. Just a lot of people are commenting on the echo a little bit for that there. So apologies for that. There, we are working on it. We will try and get it fixed for that there. I do see Clayton Meeks. Don't worry, calm down. It's fine. But yeah. Oh wait, hang on. I got another one here. Hang on. If I take this one out, back in. Hello, can you hear me now?
It probably is me, but anyway, it's time for
me
to get back on dad duties. But thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. It's very much appreciated. And good luck in your match next week.
Next week, August 28th, doors open at 7, Lucha Brute at Lola's Trailer Park in Fort Worth. You're going against ASF for the Great State Championship. This is going to be your attempt to get it back from him, a paper champion, a guy who thinks he earned it but didn't do shit to do it. So we all want Chris Cruz to do it.
Get him sorted.
Yeah.
Get him sorted.
Just bitch slap him for me, okay? Tell him that's for me. And just say, get out of here and get that championship. So,
open hand slaps are legal.
Yeah, they are. So just bitch slap him for me and just say, this is for me, because I feel the same way. So that's next week. You against ASF. That's also, we'll find out about if it's going to be broadcasted, and we'll post it through here for you. So, Chris, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you talking with us about everything. And, good luck next week, man. And hopefully I'll see you next week.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too, my man.
See you later.
Thank you, my man. Much appreciated, buddy. There we go, and that was Chris Cruz. You can see his match next week if you are in the Fort Worth area. Lucha Brute, hold my beer, at Lola's Trailer Park. Get there, support our man, and let's see him bring home the gold. But let's
John,
get back.
Is that a clever name, or is it really just Lola's Trailer Park?
No, it is the clever name for this place. It's really cool. Like, it's a super cool venue. They do live music and stuff there. They make it kind of look like a trailer park, but it's a really neat outdoor venue. So it's going to be an outdoor show. So, Texas in August, you're going to be sweating your balls off. But
what's up with Texas making things look like other things?
I don't know.
What you were telling us about the what's that gas station called?
The gas station. It's like a big mall.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, the name escaped me.
Yeah, Buc-ee's is a Walmart and a gas station kind of mushed together as one big giant thing. It's just Texas. We just kind of do things to make it our own. We go big or we go home. So,
Jesus. You guys are off your head. It's like, am I right in saying Texas is the only state in America where you can have tigers as pets? Like, you can have them in your backyard. Florida. Is it Florida can do it as well?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. To be fair,
but only those two, and they're the furthest south you can get.
Yeah. Exactly.
To be fair, not to be the guy
you asked earlier, John, when you were talking to Chris about the state of wrestling in Texas. It's like, has it ever not? I mean, look, you got from the Funks to Shawn Michaels to Keith Lee. Like, Texas has produced some of the best wrestlers throughout generations of guys. So it's
like 5 years
really
ago,
new.
You couldn't get guys here 5 years ago. Like, people, as far as like getting talent to come in, that it's not that we couldn't produce talent. We've had tons of talent. It's just getting people to come into Texas for shows. Lately, it seems like a lot more people are coming in than used to. And that's sort of the issue.
But why is that?
Like Chris said, they said just for some reason said don't go to Texas because it's you're not going to get money, you're not going to get paid, these things were floating around.
Okay, so you don't know either. Okay,
no, and he didn't. That's what he heard from other people. Chris, but he's been for 4 years now. The last 4 or 5 years, the scene has just blown up. With Thunder Rosa's promotion, everybody's got a promotion down here now, and they're all doing great stuff, and people are coming in like crazy. And and I think the fact too that we have all these promotions that now are on the internet posting their shows through IWTV, Title Match, Fight TV. It makes those shows more accessible. So then people are like, oh, y'all are on this. Well, yeah, I definitely want to get on this show then, because not only am I just being seen, because I think it was you're only getting seen in Texas, so why would I go there? But now, with the amount of production they have for a lot of these shows, you're seeing a lot more people come because, I'm going to get to see JTG versus Alexander Hamilstone, and I can watch it on Fight TV, even though I live in, North Dakota, and I can watch this match in Texas, which that was a hell of a match to watch, and I was there live to watch it. But, still I get to do that too. So it makes for that kind of, enticement now that we have that kind of stuff. And Texas, with a lot of great venues that hold 200 to 500 people, so you're getting a pretty good payday from that as well. It's just, to me, these promoters are really starting to figure out how to take care of people. They've got rid of all the bullshit guys that for the handshake and a hot dog kind of thing. A lot of that's gone away, and there's some really solid promoters who are making sure guys are taken care of, they're paid. Like the Pele Pro Wrestling, the guy makes sure everybody gets Whataburger when they come in, and
wait, isn't that just a handshake and a hot dog?
Still on top of
but
their
it's
pay.
a burger.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, speaking of promoters taking care of people. So, any other CM Punk thoughts, or do you want to put a button on it, or do we?
I don't know. There was actually a really good comment we can maybe bring up. And Sir Jam said on the chat here, when's the last time you've seen a WWE wrestler come out with no music and the crowd sings their song? The crowd in AEW is not bored. They're connected with the platforms. Of course, he's connected with the performers. Of course, he's referring to the Chris Jericho match this week against MJF. Yeah. But it really does. He does make a good point here. There's AEW fans a bit more connected with what's going on. They're a bit more lively, a bit more involved in how things are. They're not just sort of generic. Like, maybe this is something I'm touching it when we talked about CM Punk today, where they sort of laid the breadcrumbs and set things up so they got the reaction they wanted last night. It's kind of the same thing with Jericho. When MJF came up with this Judas stipulation, they had already laid the breadcrumbs. They had fans basically from the beginning of COVID, when they had everyone singing, because you had not just before COVID actually, when they had the boat, or the, what do you call it? Not the ferry, the cruise. The cruise.
Oh yeah.
And the fans started singing along, so they stuck with that. So even when the fans weren't there, they had the wrestlers who were around the arena singing along with the song. So it's like quietly programming people to sing along with that tune. So when we get to Wednesday, the crowd, no music, no nothing. They know the words. They know exactly how to sing it. Although you saw about a ton of them with their phones like this, reading the lyrics.
Right?
Oh yeah, they knew they knew the fans would do that, which is why they even made that a stipulation. Because why the hell would MJF care if he came out with his own music or not? There was no reason for him to care about that. So.
Did you notice they went as far as actually putting the lyrics of the song on their Twitter feed, so you could actually go to AEW's Twitter and they had?
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, that makes sense because if you look at the people trying to sing the song, nobody knows anything except the chorus part and barely that. So it's funny when they get a close up of somebody and like they don't know the words to it. Right? It's just like, oh, wrong camera. Anyways, but well, you know, it's a crazy thing. I never thought we'd see it, but and that's one of the reasons I wanted to hop on with you guys, because this was going to be one of the first podcasts that's even going to get to talk about.
I know.
You know, that's even going to get to talk about CM Punk and what happened last night. And I wanted to jump on just because I've been saying for a long time, like, I don't think he's going to do it. And also, as the fairest man on earth, I have to be able to just be a man and admit that I was wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to publicly do that here. I was wrong. CM Punk did come back. I assumed he was done. And he had every reason to be done.
Yeah.
He set a precedent,
and he may regret coming back after, you know, because you see exactly what happens. Like, you get that great moment, that great segment, everything was perfect. Next, here comes Jurassic Express. So, like, that's the company you work for now. It's kind of not, you know, not congruous, but nonetheless, he's there. And
very interesting comments coming up here. The Summer Punk versus the Summer of Cena. Oh, we'll get into that. We've got a lot to talk about in there. This is quite an interesting comment as well. Like, never seen a performer control a crowd like CM Punk did. It was amazing, and he's got a point. A lot of promos that you see right now, if fans chant or get a bit overexcited, they struggle to kind of control the fans. But CM Punk last night seemed to just do. Hold on. He said it once. He just went, "Hold on, guys," and it was like 2 seconds, and he's back on.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, that's some kind of voodoo. When you think of it, in the modern realm of wrestling and the kind of people you got there, to have that ability is incredible. Even 7 years out, considering what's been going on and the history and everything like that, it's incredible. He still has that power to just hang on, and they just hold on to every single word that he has. It was fascinating. It was fascinating.
Right. It really was. And you know, honestly, you think about this. This is an hour after 2 hours of SmackDown. You know, so this is not even program. You know, WWE is not even really programming against this anymore, because it's like you can't. You know, it's after your show's over and done. You know, and so.
Quite genius in a sense.
Yeah, it really is on AEW's part, because you think about what they did. It's like they ended SmackDown trying to think, well, CM Punk's probably going to be, and I was with you. I would say there's no way CM Punk is coming back. It's just smoke and mirrors. It's all bullshit, you know. And so I admit I was wrong too. I said if he brought him back, it'd be in a broadcaster role. That was it, you know. And so I was in your boat, Vet. So I agree with you too. My bad, you know. I was wrong, but. The fact of the matter is, it's like Cena tried to do that same thing that CM Punk did an hour later, but way better. You know, I mean, 100%. At the end of this show, you had him doing CM Punk stuff, you know, in a way of talking about how he's going to take the title and run, and he's going to, you know, he did that last week, blow you a kiss, and things along those lines. And he did all this CM Punk thing, and then you watch CM Punk do his thing last night, and you're going, wow, like I felt like WWE is giving me the Wish version of CM Punk, and I've got the real version right here, you know. And so it was just very interesting to watch in general, especially now because, like, you know, I watched WWE, and then you haven't, and it was just an hour. You know, that's the other thing. It's amazing how really good they're doing with an hour of television to put a wrestling show on with AEW. I really like that, and so. You know, I feel like you said, Vet, if AEW can't build on this momentum, they've got momentum right now. This is a massive amount of momentum. They need to be using this to go forward. Because let's be honest, I don't care about SummerSlam tonight. I mean, do any of you guys really care?
It's more of an obligation thing.
Yeah,
I can say one match I can really enjoy. Genuine, I'm looking forward to, and that's the Seth Rollins Edge match. But after that, no, not a thing.
Now, you think about it, like, at the same time as you have this big, huge moment for AEW. It's the biggest moment they've ever had, hands down. Not only was it the biggest moment they ever had, but they didn't fuck it up like they fucked everything else up that they've done, right? Even if people like it, it could have been better, whatever they've done. But this couldn't have been any better. However, directly following that, Jurassic Express in a shitty match, Red Velvet versus Kiera Hogan, and John Moxley versus some kid, Daniel Garcia, whatever his name is. Doesn't matter.
They knew they had a free hit by that point because the rating's in for that point.
No, James, that's not the point. The point is how many people tuned in that's never watched AEW in their life because they knew CM Punk was coming or they believed he was coming, and they were like, this is their chance to sell AEW to those people that weren't already watching. And what did you do? I would argue that they did worse than the WWE did on this episode of SmackDown to sell SummerSlam, to sell anybody on AEW. But those people are going to be so hardcore, they'll be like, well, I don't care. I'll just watch CM Punk and fast forward the rest of the show and see if he comes out again. That's all it's going to be.
I would counter that by saying that Punk signposted when he was coming back to wrestle and said it was all out, and even shouted live on pay-per-view. Like, he was selling it. He was so you've got me now. 2 weeks from now, you're going to see me wrestle on pay-per-view. And that's when that's their biggest show of the year almost. So they're going to put a lot of stock in that. Right. So I think last night, they saw that as a free hit. Now, I'm not saying that's the right way to look at it. They could have done a lot better. But I can see them saying, look, we've got a free hit tonight. We'll just do this. And then whatever. Because they would probably expected a drop-off. But arguably, you could say, look, once Punk gone, everyone's probably going to tune on to something else. That fans will move on to whatever else is on. So let's get Punk on first. Let's do this promo. Let's set the match now. So there's no having to worry about coming back. And the pay-per-view is there. So that's the big one. That's the one where they'll all be trying to dress up to the nines, put on the best show possible. And that's not exactly the best way. It's fair to say that Tony Khan's still learning the ways a little bit in here. But as a promotional tactic for a pay-per-view, it's not a bad move. It wasn't a bad idea to try and drum up the pay-per-view sales. Now, I don't know if you probably disagree with me in that sense, where it's like eye to the pay-per-view rather than what's happening now. You probably want to get the views consistently, but
no, James, you're right. Everything you said is correct. And I'm not saying they have to put on a mini pay-per-view after CM Punk comes out, but you could do a little bit better than Daniel Garcia and Kiera Hogan and Lucha's fucking Saurus. You could do a little bit better than that. That's all I'm saying, because they have so many people there that they can't fit them all into the Dynamite show. That's part of the reason they need to do a third hour. So you got people that you need to use. You could have done a little bit better than that. So that's all I'm saying. And it would have been, it's always nice to have the person that you come for, but there's got to be the people that you stay for, and
do you think that they've got like 1 million matches on Dark every week? There's a couple of good ones in there as well. You would maybe think that they could say, right, rather than put this on Dark, let's put this over to Rampage. Like this week would have been a good example. I don't know what the matches were exactly, but generally 9 times out of 10, there's some really good sort of mid-card or upper-level talents are in there. There's Rosa Mendez in one of the matches this week. And she could have that could be a good match. I don't know if it was not this week, it was last week, but someone like a Rosa Mendez, that'd be brilliant. That'd be absolutely brilliant for that sort of show, just kind of set the tone for what you're about. But yeah, it's an interesting time. It's a fun time. When you think about it, it's a fun time where we're at, where anything can happen. And there was a good comment where Big Ray said as well. It's like, just wait till New York City and Danielson. And something I wanted to bring up was that, we're seeing at the moment WWE at a time where they're very flippant with their talent, where they're releasing them left, right, and center at a whim almost. We talked about the NXT releases where they're not fitting a certain mold or a talent. I've theorized about why that would be in terms of like they've not got players who are set. If they've not got enough people who can do everything, they'll just get rid of them. But AEW seem to be picking up the right people at the right time. And people say it's an easy thing to say WWE talent is getting released going to AEW, but they seem to be picking the right people at the right time where, Daniel Bryan's contract ended, so they've got him. CM Punk's come back after 7 years. 2.0 got have got a good spot in the company already after coming from NXT. Adam Cole's a potential. We don't know the deal with that anymore. That sort of went silent for a while, so he could turn up. It seems like WWE at the moment are sort of spending more time trying to cut the talent pool and cut the budget, whereas AEW seem a bit more inclined to try and fill up their roster and try and get people going and make use of them. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but they seem to be making more of an effort or have a more mentality of trying to use people and get them out there and making the most out of their talents rather than, looking for reason to let them go. This is a good time.
You see in WWE 6-7 years ago, they're signing everybody that was somebody in Impact or Ring of Honor or New Japan or whatever. They were actively going out and bringing people into NXT. There was a period of NXT where it was just like they were doing nothing but hiring like 40-year-old guys from TNA. You had like Robert Roode, Eric Young, James Storm came in, like for a brief period. So it was like they were going with that, getting all these seasoned guys because they needed some, that's how the talent that is actually developing is supposed to get better, by working with those guys. So NXT needed a mix of seasoned guys and rookies still trying to learn, right? But they were going after everybody. It seemed like they were taking everything from everybody. Now AEW is they're releasing what should be can't miss prospects like Aleister Black, Andrade. Like those are guys that they should really want and that they seriously dropped the ball on. Just those two guys alone, right?
Yeah.
Would have been nice for both of those guys to maybe have a match on Rampage, wouldn't it? But no, let's not do that. But that's what I'm saying.
Where has Andrade been on AEW, by the way? He just vanished.
Yeah, he just stands in the back and lets Chavo talk.
Yeah, because he can't speak English.
Right, and they shouldn't keep trying to make him either.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
They really shouldn't. Even with Chavo there, I'm getting like 10 times more Andrade promo than I've ever had in his career up till now. Right. So it seems a very weird thing, but even besides that, it doesn't matter if he can speak English or not. Look at him, watch his matches. That's all you need to do. Like he doesn't ever need to say a word. He could be a mute for all we care. Yeah. That guy is a star, like through and through.
Yeah.
And the WWE just tossed him in the garbage.
Yeah. He's also set up to never talk again because you're right. He's got Chavo and Vicky Guerrero in AEW. He's got Ric Flair cutting about now as well. Like, imagine that.
That's the next guy that's going to show up. You're going to get Ric Flair.
And the Guerreros, like some of the best wrestling families of all time. And he's just got them he's just right there. He's right next to them. Like, these are my pals now. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, Ric Flair is essentially his father-in-law. I mean, shows up at Triple, was it? What do you call it? Triple Mania?
Triple Mania.
Yeah, Triple Mania. And then, chops Kenny Omega. And, you're just like, okay, all right, cool.
I can't believe he didn't win the title off of the back of that. I really am a bit shocked by that there. Also, Ric Flair likes trains. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know, exactly.
But I suppose to tie this up in a little knot before we begrudgingly go into SmackDown, and we'll probably try and do it in a bit of a different way with it being SummerSlam weekend. It's the future's bright for AEW, isn't it? They've seemed to play the right cards at the right time where everything's just falling in place. The ratings are going up, the talent's there, the fan response is strong, they're getting really good talents coming through the door. It seems like they can't do anything wrong just now.
No, they can. They definitely can.
Yeah,
they can.
Just like I said at the top, this is a chance for them for this to be a reset button. I mean, think of all the guys they have that are only in like basically advisory capacities. Under one roof, you have, I'm going to forget some people, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard right there. You could have a third horseman with Ric Flair coming in. You brought in Mark Henry and the Big Show. Not like those guys haven't been around. Mm-hmm. You've got Jake the Snake Roberts.
By the way, Big Show has a match at All Out with.
Yes, he does.
Big Show has a match. What else? Who else is there that they brought in just to be, just to be somebody that
well, you could argue that Taz
is another one. So
Jim Jim Ross to a degree as well, you know.
Jim Ross. Think of
Chris
all
Jericho.
these people, right? Chris Jericho. All these people, right? You can't help but have a better show if you start listening to some of these guys. Now, it may be a case of like too many cooks in the kitchen and you're not really sure which ingredients to use, and that can be confusing, but you just get a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and there are certain mistakes you'll make that you'll never make again because they'll be told that they were mistakes in the first, you know what I mean? You'll see those things like
Goldust as well.
Goldust. I'm not even talking, but Goldust will have matches. Like Dustin has matches, but I'm just saying, like even the guys that just stand around and collect a paycheck, supposedly,
right?
Yeah.
You know, just those guys can help Tony so much in little ways, or help the talent in little ways, just little pieces of advice. In fact, that's what Mark Henry's hanging his entire hat and reason of being there is saying he wants to help. So.
Right. Well,
This is their
you got
chance.
Jerry Lynn and guys like Jerry Lynn, they're in the backstage, and then Dean Malenko, and some of these they're supposed to be agents
insane.
or producers, or they call them.
I told you I was going to forget.
Yeah,
I told you I was going to forget some people because they got too many people there.
Yeah.
So it's got to get better from here, and it probably will. The biggest issue, like I keep on saying, is that they hit the gas pedal on all their angles and blow them off way too quickly and run through them. They don't, they think that having things go on for a long time is a build. It's not. It's not necessarily a build. They think that just because the Jericho 5 labors last 5 weeks, that's a good long thing. Well, no, you rushed through everything and you did it weird. And all of it was to end in Chris Jericho tapping out. If he was just going to,
by the way.
No, it's just on a Dynamite. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Why is that not on a pay-per-view? That's like
exactly.
That's the whole point of this, was to get that to pay-per-view, surely.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just because they'd rather have the rating, because they know that the next pay-per-view they're gonna do, it's already sold. You know what I mean? It's already sold out. He's not gonna sell one more ticket having the match with MJF. So, or he might. Yeah, I mean, you might get a buy, but I mean, come on, like. You weren't going to get any extra from that if they thought CM Punk was going to be on it, and that's why they're going to order All Out. So it wouldn't have made a difference in the long run. But my point was going to be like if I was going to finish the angle with a tap out, shit, I would have just tapped out when you said Nick Gage was my second opponent.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I tapped out here.
Yeah,
I give up. I don't want to do it.
Fuck that. That dude's
I don't want to fight the kid that bad. No, thanks.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Nick Gage, have you guys seen? What's his name? Not Zack Ryder anymore. What's his name?
Matt Cardona.
Have you seen Matt Cardona from GCW last night?
He dressed as Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon in ECW with the do-rag.
With the do-rag and the black outfit. Yeah, he did that exact
My man. That is my man right there. He appreciates what's going on. Interesting comment from Clayton Meeks, and we can move on after this. Is that he said, none of it matters if it doesn't bring back lapsed fans or new fans. Otherwise, it's just the same million fans flipping back and forth. Now,
okay, I don't want to monopolize the whole show because I'll be jumping off before you guys do the SmackDown anyway. So
you're good. You're good.
But just to answer that question, like, how does anybody bring back lapsed fans or create new fans? I'll tell you how. They do it by just doing what they need to do. And it may not have the results that you want right away, but eventually, with consistency, you can get people talking and saying, like, the people that do watch AEW will be telling you, look, I've been watching this shit for 6 months, a year, 2 years. It's good, man. You got to watch it. And then people will try it. And if there's something good, they will stick with it. And that's how you get back a lapsed fan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A new fan can be created at any moment, anytime they turn on and see something they like. That's why you can't afford to have, the Daniel Garcias of the world in your main events. That's all, again, no offense to the kid, just saying that's not going to get a new fan. That's not going to make a new fan.
Match. That's a dark.
It's a dark match, but it's not. It doesn't have to be instant results. If CM Punk he's probably going to double the rating for Rampage. It was 740 something. He'll probably get 1.5. Okay, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be like a through the roof, but you just have to be consistent. And that's even what he said. he's saying like, why did it take CM Punk so long to come to AEW? Because he wanted to wait and see, like, is this really going to happen? You know, and that's what maybe some fans are doing. Maybe fans want to like wrestling, but AEW looks too stupid for them right now. So they're waiting till it gets to a consistent point where they will want to tune in every week. They aren't there yet. They haven't been there, but they could get there maybe. And they'll certainly be better than a 40-year-old man in jorts jumping up and down, counting to 3, and giving people roll-ups in their main event promo. You got schoolboy Roman Reigns in a promo. Yep, that's what's gonna get the real fans. So, I mean, there you have it. It's all spelled out, you know, right there for you.
Yeah, I always feel like it's a bit of a losing battle now as well with Lapsed fans. Like I'm not saying they're gone, but the landscape of wrestling changes so much over the years, and how it is at the moment for that there. You've got to work a lot, as you say, you've got to work a lot harder to get them back in. So you got this one movement, and maybe, as you're right, maybe they had like higher quality content after CM Punk might keep them. But I don't know. You're never going to get the numbers you're ever going to get from the Attitude Era. It's a gone and gone. So,
and there's a reason for that too, James. There's a reason for that too. The reason is most of the people that are these numbers are coming from people that have cable and satellite, right? Yeah. Who still watches things on cable and satellite? Old guys. That's what it is. They don't, you know what I mean? So like young people are watching this, but they're watching it differently. They're either streaming platforms, YouTube clips, illegal, just bootleg channel, you know, like just catching shit where they can. This generation was raised on Napster, so they love to steal stuff from the internet, and that's how they get a lot of their content that's not going to get accounted for. So there's more fans than people think they are. The million people are like all the, you know, the 35 to 55-year-old dudes who still refuse to cut the cord. Those are the ones that are getting the numbers, right? So, I mean, cable's just a big portion of it. If you see it trend up, that's a good thing, because that means that it's obviously even higher than that. But yeah, you're not gonna get 4s and 5s and stuff anymore in this era when these services, like the cable services, like the prices keep increasing. I don't know what you guys got. I don't know, John. I don't know what you got down in Texas or whatever, if you got anything. But even if you don't, you know, people that have. You sign up for whatever you sign up for, and you get the introductory price, and then they sneak in little taxes and little fees and little stuff, and pretty soon your bill is ballooned up bigger than you thought. Yeah, and people are like, I don't want to do this. I'm cutting it. And you know, so that's partially a reason why some of these 4s and 5s have gone down to 3s and 2s and now under 2, just for that.
Right. Well, I mean, like, you know, we had, you know, yesterday, my girlfriend's oldest son, James, who was on the show, he moved into UTA yesterday, and that's how he's been watching wrestling, is through his laptop. He has a giant-ass computer in his room, but he's got YouTube TV, they've got Hulu and Disney Plus and all that, and he's watching wrestling through his computer, because it's like, for him, he's like, this is what I know to watch. I'm like, but bro, you got a giant ass TV right there. Why are you not watching it there? He goes, oh, I just do that for NASCAR, because he's a huge NASCAR fan. But he'd rather watch NASCAR on his big TV than he would wrestling. So like last week,
why doesn't he just cast it to his TV?
I don't know. He doesn't want to.
These kids these days don't even know how to do their own stuff right.
I know.
We're trying to teach them stuff.
Right.
You know?
So like last week, I was talking to my girlfriend. You know, it was Friday night, and we are talking about SmackDown. He comes walking in with his laptop and just is showing her like the John Cena promo of like, you know, where Roman Reigns says apparently Nikki Bella didn't like Missionary, you know, and like, oh, you know, whatever. I know. So it was like, no big deal. But, you know, but that's how he was watching, you know, like his girlfriend comes over to watch like whatever, and they're watching it on their computer. You know, that's just
like huddled over the screen. Like
it was, so he said they watched Bachelor this week. My girlfriend, she was like, it was him, his girlfriend and my girlfriend, and they were all watching The Bachelor on the laptop. And it's like, okay, you know, but that's what this generation does. They pirate it, they steal it, they just do, like, how are you going to get ratings on someone who watches things through YouTube TV or Hulu or things along those lines? Where
how do you count those people?
Yeah, you know,
and it's the same thing with like, you know, with the merch sales. you've got a lot of who's buying that stuff? Kids can't afford a $29 t-shirt. Their parents are buying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do you account for like who your real fan base is? It's way too like all the metrics are too splintered to get an accurate portrayal. So we just kind of have to like pay attention to trends and things. But it's even that it's never going to be an exact science, and we're never going to really know. But like James said, we're never going to go back to those numbers because 25 years ago there was a lot less technology and interesting stuff to do on the internet. Now,
and the other thing was wrestling was the zeitgeist. Like they had the rock and wrestling revolution, and that was their foot in the door, and then they just kept on with that. They followed that through. WCW happened, and it was a battle for the ratings. And in the Attitude Era, these things were all connected with the culture at the time. And as times went on, unfortunately, cultures change and trends change, and people don't get into things as like we used to 20 years ago. And that's just what happened to wrestling. It's maybe they did it to themselves to a degree. The sale of WCW and ECW, that didn't help. WWE's creative process and monopolization of wrestling, it took a while to recover to this point now. When you think about it, we've got companies that are in prominence like AEW. Impact have come back a lot stronger than they were in their TNA days. New Japan's starting to get a bit of ground in the Western world as well. That took a long time to get to that. So it's a lot of work to get to just this period. So when we look at 1 million viewers, that's an achievement for a lot of companies, like AEW especially.
Sure.
When they came on in TNT, were like, if you can make 300 to 400,000, we're good. And then they were getting 800s and 900s. So they're blowing away numbers that were expected initially. So a lot of work has to go into that there. But yeah, you're totally right. The way we take in media, not just wrestling, just as a whole, it changes that dynamic. How we
well, look at this. Look at this in the comments. The PC hooked up to a 40-inch TV. Peacock. Websites. I watch all my stuff through TV websites. So I mean, we're seeing this now.
And you can have both there as well. 25 years ago, you had to choose, but now you can have both.
Yeah. Also, one other important thing about 25 years ago, there was no such thing as a DVR. With the advent of TiVo, and then everybody duplicated that technology. You didn't have to be there. Before that, you had to be there. It was appointment TV, like, well, it's coming on at this time. It's live sports. Same thing with, live sports is like the last bastion of that now, to where, you could stream it, but since it's live, it's not the same if you miss it. Well, people don't think of wrestling like that. They'll be like, I'll catch it later. They don't, but back then it was like Raw was just the same as a Monday Night Football or baseball or basketball or anything else. You had to be there at that time. And even if you couldn't be there and you set your VCR, if you kids know what that is, if you set your VCR with a tape to record it, I mean, your TV was still watching it, so that counted. So it's like
VCR loyal back in the day.
Yep. So even setting it to record was still getting that, view, right? So back then it was appointment television. Everything on television was appointment television because it was either you were there or you missed it. It's not like that. It wasn't even like that, a few years after that. So as soon as DVRs came in, now that's when you're going to see the ratings start to, to tank.
Yeah.
Yep. So
time.
Yeah, it was good. So, do we talk SmackDown? Is this where Vet goes, fuck this, I'm out? He goes, fuck this, I'm out.
This SmackDown wasn't even good.
I gotta tap out just like Chris Jericho to the salt of the earth. I can't really. I mean, if you guys really want me to stay, I guess I could. But it's a show's already been an hour 12, and we're not even. And I made the point I wanted to make about how childish this program is, that they're trying to get you to watch SummerSlam, and what they're doing with two extremely capable performers on the mic and in the ring of John Cena and Roman Reigns. And that's what that is what they hang their hat on, is John Cena counting to 3 and jumping up and down and doing fake pins. And it's just like that right there. Everybody should watch that. Then go watch the first, 15 minutes of Sergey is a fan. I know. You got to leave him wanting more, guys. You got to leave him wanting more. But yeah, dude. It's that's not going to cut it. Watch the end of SmackDown, then go watch the first 15 minutes of Rampage and just tell me why you ever want to watch WWE anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like when kind of SmackDown was getting put together, and then we saw Rampage, I was like, "Fuck, we got to talk about SmackDown." I really like.
Yeah,
I was
now
not
don't watch the last 45 minutes of Rampage. Don't watch that.
No.
That would undo my point. So you don't want to do that.
I'm ready for the views to tank after this, but like that was it. Like no one wants to talk about SmackDown. Nobody, because like what happened last night. And SummerSlam's like hours away. And if you look at the literally hours away. Jesus. This is an aged show by midnight tonight. Record. A new record for this show.
I know, right?
And we do go homes all the time. Like this, like no one wants to talk about this. Like you watch the SmackDown, for me, this was all about the promos. Like Edge, Rollins, Cena, and Reigns. The rest is I'll have a rant about Bianca Belair later, but like the rest can go in the bin because it just didn't matter. It really didn't. Like it was a rerun. We got Montez Ford versus Otis. We got Natalya and Tamina versus Shotzi and Tegan, which ended the same way as it did last time it happened. You know, we got all these things, and it was like they're just repeating matches. They had that Corbin and Kevin Owens, Bianca Belair buried the entire women's division in a night with Carmella and Selena Vega within the space of 10 minutes. Can we talk about that? Like that? You know, those things didn't matter. And one of those was supposed to build a big match for tonight. And it just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. It just seemed disjointed. And it's a SmackDown I wasn't happy with. And then you see what's happening on Rampage. You'd think they would put a bit more effort into this. This is a night and a weekend for wrestling. This is a weekend for pro wrestling where all the eyes are what's happening. People who are lapsed fans say, "Oh, WWE's on just before you do it. I might see what's happening there." You got to put your best foot forward, and you're selling a pay-per-view tomorrow night. Now, we talked about CM Punk doing this thing to be the vehicle to get people to watch All Out. WWE have got a free hit the next 24 hours from then, and I thought they fucked it big time. I really do. Apart from the Edge and Rollins thing. That was the only thing at that SmackDown that redeemed it for me, and it maybe wasn't the best thing, but they really should have done more with this, rather than just going with same old, simple, oh, we'll just put matches on. We'll just run SmackDown from 3 weeks ago. Or last week for that matter. That'll do. It's like, no, you've got to capitalize on this. You have to do it. People are paying attention to wrestling. You have to put your best foot forward. And
apparently you don't, James. Apparently you do not have to put your best foot forward.
Ridiculous.
They are completely in denial. They think that people will, eat all the shit that's being shoveled into their mouths because they have done, because the WWE is such an institution. But blah blah blah. Look at me talking. I've said all this stuff plenty of times before. Sir Jam has a question for me in the chat.
Yeah.
Good question.
How is Bianca a face but allowed to whip people with a braid/hair? How is this not a DQ? I will tell you.
Because it's hair.
I will tell you, Sir Jam. Not only that, James is right. The hair is part of your body, therefore it's not a foreign object. It's the same way that if you're a luchador or whatever, the mask is considered part of their attire, so it's a disqualification to take off the mask or whatever. Your hair is technically not a foreign object, so it can't be used as a weapon. Now, the reason why she's a babyface and she whips people is it's because when she came in, she was a heel, and that's just a holdover from when she was a heel. That's basically it.
Ooh, big point of contention here. They made Lex Luger's forearm illegal. Explain that. I mean, I think you can make the case because I had like a metal plate in there, so that's why he was like illegal, wasn't it? But then I suppose you can make the case where Bianca Belair ties her hair in a certain way where it's denser, and then
if it's a real hair,
if it's a real hair as well. If it's extensions, then we have to have a word with the referees. Well, look, WrestleMania's tainted.
I mean, I'm just humoring these questions. It's obviously all ridiculous. There's no reason. 100%. There's no rhyme or reason. There's lots of things don't make sense. Almost nothing does make sense. I mean, you're selling, addition to John Cena jumping up and down like an idiot, let's not forget how he got this match. just walking in and signing a random contract. So,
even referred to
which they referred to last night.
Yeah, you like, so you're trivializing what's supposed to be the most like Roman Reigns. Everything he'd been doing up to that point was like relatively sidestepping all the goofiness. Yeah, Sonic is right, a wizard.
Quality ads.
So Roman was sidestepping the goofiness, and even though he didn't have anything, like, technically, like, it's not his fault or any of his doing, he still had to sit there and be a party to this angle where John Cena steals a contract or whatever. And now you've got Baron Corbin doing the exact same thing, and that's supposed to be entertaining as well. Like, this whole thing is shitty. Everything about it is shitty. This is for children, but even children are probably, like, in their minds, like, this is shitty, mommy. Like, it's like, they don't know. They're not gonna
bedtime now for that, son.
Yeah, right. So I'm just, this is it's pretty embarrassing all around, and it certainly doesn't make you any more excited for SummerSlam. As wrestling fans, you two guys are just going to look at, like, do I want to see this match or not? Because you're looking at the wrestler, you're looking at the kind of match you expect to have with those guys. And it's like, that despite shitty creative, Seth Rollins and Edge can have a nice match, and John Cena and Roman Reigns can have an entertaining match. That, like, if you just watch bell to bell, it'll be fine. But if the bell to bell ultimately means nothing in the larger picture of the world that you're trying to build, which you're in full control of, by the way, you can build any kind of world you want. That's the thing about making a fake sport from a real one, is you can control who wins and loses. You can control everything about it, every aspect of it. And if you choose to just do all this other bullshit, then even the stuff when you try to do serious, it's like you're not invested in it because it's not eventually going anywhere. And that's just kind of the unfortunate thing about this whole WWE situation. And they really have to, I think, change their focus going forward on how they want to approach this. If they don't want people to continually drop off, because they are dropping off. You can see that trend is going down.
Yeah,
it's not slow either. It's a very quick descent down as well, which is worrying. Some really interesting comments as well coming through on the live chat. Some responses to the Cavalier thing. Kind of touch on what we said is, like, if a program is really good, people will watch live to avoid spoilers. If you look at this as a sport, then that's also a live viewing situation where I think, we're looking at WWE and it shows tonight, last night rather, it's quite a contrived creative process, whereas AEW seems to be very set on just wrestling. Well, there is some contrived stuff in there. There is storylines, what have you, but the sort of spine of that, though, is the sporting element. The winning records. You always see their records on their names, things like that. So
it's a little more sports-esque, but it's still they still do some of the same corny old stuff.
Entertainment. They still do that.
I'll just respond to that, to Clayton's comment, just that, and then that'll wrap it up for me, guys.
Okay.
But yes, he's right. If a program is good, people will watch it live. So we know that Game of Thrones and stuff on a premium service was pulling in 8 million, 9 million people, per episode at times, and maybe more. I don't know. I didn't keep up with it, but we know that it's pretty good what they were doing. But just imagine how much more it would have been for all the people that don't care about spoilers that were watching it later. It could have been that number could have been something like 15 million, 20 million. More than 8 million people watch Game of Thrones. There's 350 million people in this country alone that, are potential Game of Thrones watchers. Now you got all these people all over the world, what I mean? So like, yes, people will watch those things live because it's appointment television, because they don't want to wait. That's one. Because they don't want to spoil for them. That's two. But then there's also those people that specifically go and look up the spoilers. There's actually people, can you believe this, that want to see the spoilers first so that they don't have to try to guess or think while they're watching the show? You motherfucker.
John!
You know what? I'm out of here, you guys. I can't deal with this. I can't sit in here.
Fan card, please. Get that handed in.
No, like, for certain movies, I will. I want to know what happens because I want to know if it's going to be worth my time or not to go spend, $12 for a movie nowadays.
Well, let me spoil that for you, John. If you have to question it, it's not worth your time.
It's really not.
Go do something else.
Yeah, true. True.
But yeah, so
I know you got to go. I did send you the Lola trailer. I messaged it to you, so there's a link to it. You can see what it looks like on Facebook. It's a cool venue, so it's definitely one of the more unique ones to watch a wrestling show at. So, but Batman, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you being here. Your insight on this all was super great, and I'm glad to know that you and I both agree that we didn't think CM Punk was going to be coming back, and then we have to admit we're wrong.
Right.
So
I've got more reasons to talk about that, but I wanted to save some for Big Ray because I know he's going to want to talk about it on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get a lot for the guys that are in here now and want to watch next.
Including Big Ray.
Yeah. Time him out too if he's still here, by the way, because he's been doing way too many all caps. He needs to get a timeout. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about that. So if you want to see me get a little more in depth on CM Punk, my mixed feelings and / relationship with CM Punk and all this other stuff, just tune in for that, and it'll provide some more insight. Damn,
I wish I got that spicy content there.
Ooh. Well, James, you're just gonna have to tune into the Next Level Wrestling Review coming up on Thursday. We're also gonna, of course, talk about Takeover, which that's the one that's randomly happening on a Sunday instead of SummerSlam. They switched it.
Why?
And,
not at Vegas either. They're not even at Vegas. They're at the Performance Center, aren't
they? I mean, who knows what these guys are thinking anymore? Their whole world's turned upside down now.
You're gonna be reviewing two different kinds of NXT by Thursday, apparently. There's gonna be this NXT on Sunday, and then it's all changed Wednesday night. It's all changed.
Where it all begins again, pal. So that's where you can catch more of me. But it was always a pleasure hopping on with you guys. But hey, it's your show. You guys got to do it. I'm just here to hang out once in a while and cover some absences, and that's it. So thanks again.
Always a pleasure.
All right, bye everyone in the chat, and I will see you on the Impact Attack coming up whenever that comes up. So keep your notification bells on. Bye, guys.
All right, later, man.
Quick. I always love to have the vet on this show.
Yeah,
I absolutely love to have him on this. It's a great time. Fuck, we gotta talk about Smackdown. I'm looking for this.
Elizabeth, I do read the last page of a book sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, get yourself sorted, mate. Get spoilers in before you're watching a live show. Come on, poor show.
So it would be like Elizabeth. I mean, let's be honest. You want to know if someone's worth it to spend your time if you're going to have sex with them. That's kind of my same waypoint I want to do. So
it's a little bit different, but okay, I get your analogy.
I'd like to know that. I'd like to know: is it going to be worth my time? Is it going to be worth it now that I'm single, ready to mingle? Is it going to be worth my time to have sex with someone? So,
well, is this wrestling so good for my penis?
Yeah. Well, you never know. So Cujo 62 says, I looked at the start time for SummerSlam and it said it's expected to be a 3-hour show. Not
a chance.
No way.
Well, I don't know, because something we never touched on with Chris and Vet while they were here is they have failed miserably to get a celebrity to come on the show.
Yeah,
they've tried Shaq, they've tried Cardi B, they've tried Mike Tyson was supposed to do something as well. They've had a bunch of people and they've all said no. And meanwhile, AEW is just
Elizabeth, by the way,
got everyone.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah, fair play. But WB has struggled to get big names on this show. That's how big a difference AEW is making right now, where people who have got talent agents like Shaq, Mike Tyson, all these people are you don't want to touch WWE right now. Shit show. AEW right now are on the go. Let's help these guys out. They're Tony Khan pays.
Yeah, there
you go, straight over. That's the thing. It's WWE haven't got the stranglehold of the industry like they did now. And it showed this week. There's no reason why they couldn't have got some of these people in to do this, and they turned that WB down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, who's the one that's singing the song? They keep playing. Last night they kept playing it, and it's up, and I don't even know what.
I don't even know. I didn't even pay attention.
I'm not into modern music very much, so but supposedly was that Cardi B or something? She was supposed to be because they're playing her
pregnant.
songs.
Yeah, she missed because she was pregnant. That was
so
maybe a bit harsh for that. Cujo makes a good one. Well, hang on, double negative here, right? You've got Jake Logan or whoever the fuck that is. That's huge. It's how huge is that when you got both the Logan? You got You got the Logans wrong.
Yeah.
Logan Paul and
I don't
Jake
know who they know.
Paul.
I don't know who the fuck they are.
Well, one's fighting Tyrone Woodley next week. Jake Paul's getting in a scrap. You know what? I don't like the guy, but Jake Paul is currently kind of gaining a little bit of my respect, getting in the ring with Tyrone Woodley. Then fair play to you. Logan Paul, yeah, he did appear on WWE for WrestleMania week, and he took a stunner from.
But I don't know who they are, like except for like I see them, they're doing these exhibition matches, and I'm like, okay, great. Who are these jackasses who are thinking they're going to show up in a boxing match, and they're not even like that's the thing, they're not even fighting boxers. Like I would give them the time of day if they were fighting boxers and doing well and beating them.
Well, Logan Paul is, but the problem is he's fighting old boxers and they still beat him. Like KSI was a professional fight, even though they're not boxers. But then he fought Mayweather, and
Mayweather just took him to school.
Yeah, he did. He just battered him for 8 rounds. Yeah, and they're acting as if he won. It's like, mate, you got schooled for 8 rounds. He could have finished you whenever he wanted. Yeah, he just wanted to give you a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you just got taken to a master's class in boxing. By the way, there were there was times where it looked like Mayweather was holding him up.
100%, Sir John. It was a total work. There was like folk paid for that. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Ways and means. That's the way to watch those kind of cards. I tell you. But yeah, should we? I don't want to, John. I really don't want to.
I don't either. I mean, we're at an hour 30. We kind of already went over it. We just literally slammed through it before that.
I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll speed through a little bit. Like let's talk through the main talking points. So we've got Edge and Rollins. Cena and Reigns, Belair and Banks. We can talk about those. Can I get my rant out of the way first?
Yeah.
On this one. Belair and Banks. Just bin it. Just bin it now. This was the Banks came out 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, the live events they had to cancel Belair and Banks for reasons we do not know. The rumor is that there was a positive COVID test, but then later this week they had a negative COVID test, so they were cleared. Banks isn't on the show tonight. We have Belair wrestling 2 challengers, 2 people who challenged her over the past 4 weeks.
Right.
And mugged them off within the space of 10 minutes. And I shit you not what that is the time that they spent on those matches. If you take away commercial breaks, she mugged them off for 10 minutes. There's no alternatives. We've got Toni Storm missing. We've got Liv Morgan missing.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck's going on with this division where your big women's title match tomorrow night, and that's how we build it? Not good enough. Absolutely not good enough. And you can kind of tell with Bianca Belair a little bit that it wasn't good enough. I think this has been a lackluster build. Not enough. They kind of banked on the fact that Sasha Banks is back. That's enough.
And it's not doing Bianca Belair any favors right now.
None.
They are not at all. Like where the fuck is Toni Storm? Exactly. Like she was supposed to be.
She vanished. She's
gone. Where is she?
Yeah.
Where? Like you said, where's Liv Morgan? Where's she at? Where are all these people that are supposed to be here?
I would have given this. I would have 100% given this a pass if they went, you know what, we're not going to do the match now. Something's happened. But what we're going to do is we're going to have Toni Storm versus Liv Morgan. The winner fights Bianca Belair tomorrow night. Maybe it's not as big a match, but at least one of them gets a chance. And maybe gets a little bit of build. And it builds up the...
Or you do a gauntlet match. All 4 of those girls.
Yeah!
Do something like that.
Or you had your tag division tonight.
Yeah.
Where apparently Shotzi and Tegan was an upset win against Natalya and Tamina.
Again.
Their current record is 3-0, by the way, for Blackheart and Tegan. So I don't know where the upset's coming from. So, this whole women's division's a mess. It blows my mind that I'm looking at SummerSlam and Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, and Nikki Ash is a much more set match. The mess that Raw is and how badly that's been handled. And I can look at it and say that's a bit more of an interesting match than Sasha Banks and Belair. The match that was award-winning at WrestleMania, main event in night 1 at WrestleMania. This is not a hard match to build. This is not a hard match to set up. And look at us now. We're spending... we have 2 squash matches in a row to set up this match tomorrow night. There's it makes a mockery of what else happened on SmackDown. You know, I thought Edge and Rollins did some good stuff. For silly as Reigns and Cena is, there's been a lot of work outside of SmackDown and like other like BT, WWE's the bomb. They're making the effort to make a big deal out of this. You know, they've worked on this. This match doesn't sell itself.
No.
And it showed tonight. And if Bianca Belair beats Sasha Banks, who's left?
Yeah.
We've not got anyone set up. We've mashed the women's division.
You have nothing.
Half of it's missing. There's nothing. And if Sasha Banks wins, we're with this again, and we're going to get a trilogy match. And I'm unless they do something exceptional over the next week or the next 3 to 4 weeks, you can't get me up for that. The magic's gone.
Yeah,
they had it and they blew it, and maybe we did touch on that when we're comparing WWE's creative and AEW's creative, but this is just shocking. This is absolutely shocking.
So this is interesting. Elizabeth in the comments, she says 10 minutes was too long. 9% of the women are annoying, and honestly, those matches are cut and paste with every woman. This is coming from a female
women,
a female fan. I mean, and here's the thing. You want to draw with the female, fan. Obviously, you're dressing in a certain way so the guys will watch, but you want to draw the female fan as well. And if they can't even do that with a female fan, it's the thing. And then Sir JM is saying Zaya is replacing Sasha is the rumor.
Really?
So that's what he put.
No, not now. Not like this. Not like this. Fuck that. Right. No, I'll be all for Xia Li coming up, right? 100%. But not like this.
Yeah.
Not if that is happening tonight, which I'm guessing not, because we would have heard by now. Or something would have happened by now, but still not like this. No, it's like a standard. You want her to make an impact.
Yeah.
Like have Bianca win tonight, and then after the match or the next SmackDown, Xia Li comes out with her, whatever you call them, her group of people that mysterious people, and just do something, but it's just I'm really angry at this. I really am, and I can't get over that. I really this has been such a mess. Like,
I'm sorry, Cujo's excuse me. If Xia Li comes up, by Keith can't have 2 Lees.
Oh, come on!
That was good. Good.
He's working dark matches right now, and no one knows why, apart from whoever's deciding he's working dark matches.
Well, he did come out on Twitter. Did you not see that? He released a video on what happened. Why he hasn't been wrestling.
His sort of health. Scary, by the way.
Yeah.
So mental how he makes you wonder how he managed to survive that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Once again, another Texas born and bred guy, real good, and just, got COVID, and then, of course, why am I blanking on his girlfriend? Jade. I know her as Jade. Whatever they're calling her in WWE, stupid.
Mia Yim.
Mia Yim, yeah, which I think is her real name, but yeah. Mia Yim. She's today to take care of him, and then he's had, so he's got a heart murmur now and some other issues, and so it's a scary thing, to have someone who looks like that, who you think is one of the, he's a legit star, and to have him have to deal with stuff like that, man, that's a scary thing. So, Mia Lim, So, but that's the thing. I think at the end of the day, we haven't seen, even Mia Yim would be a great name to bring up. This is just
it's a shambles, is what it is.
It really is sad.
It's
really
no
sad.
exaggeration when I say that, and it's a shame when you think about SmackDown being such a strong brand recently for building their talent pool and the storylines and things like that. And their women's division is left in such a disarray. Bayley being injured is the worst thing that's happened to this division. And I can't believe that I'm saying that, considering that Bayley had 3 matches on the spin with Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable to think that. And it's just damaged the depth a little bit. And it's no fault of hers. She's done the best she can. It's just she's missed. You can see what a difference she makes. I don't know what they do. Like, all the chat was Becky Lynch maybe coming back. In hindsight, maybe that was a move. If it was possible, maybe that was a move, but we'll never know. We'll never know what's going to happen there. Yeah, so in a nutshell, the build is pish. The match is probably going to be really good, but it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be happening tonight, if I'm honest with you. That's just my 10 cents on that one. I'm just not amused by this whole thing whatsoever. The fact that Nikki Ash, who I am fully behind and I will support to the end of this earth. I don't care what you say.
I wonder why.
Loyal to my hometown team. It doesn't matter the form. But even that, I have to admit, that is just not the greatest storyline ever. At least that match has got some importance to it, okay? At least that's got something about it. This one just is just whatever you make of it. So we've got that out of the way. Let's talk about something nice. Let's talk about something really good. Okay. Edge and Seth Rollins last night, I thought were really good performances all around. I thought the opening promo with Edge, talking about opening the dark. I'm not so keen on the Brood thing, granted.
Yeah, exactly. And you know how I feel about giving the guys a microphone for 10 minutes, sitting in the ring to start off the match, or like they do it. You know how I feel about that. So,
yeah, but Edge can do it so well, though. Edge can do it really well.
Was it compelling? A little bit, yes. But again, I am not that guy. You're not making the show for me if you're starting off with Edge coming out and talking into him like, I wasn't here last week, and I can't believe you talked about this and that, and I'm going to go to the dark place, and I'm like, okay, great, whatever. I mean,
it was a good nod though, because obviously, like last week, Seth Rollins had this big package where it's like, Seth Rollins was part of the Shield, and he became this big thing. Edge was part of the Brood, and then he done all this stuff. It was they did do the apples and oranges of it, and it was quite a nice little touch. It was like, you know what? If you're going to compare the two, I'm going to go back to when I was part of the Brood, when I had a darker edge to It was
exactly
a little bit
Sonic. Exactly. Sorry, Sonic made a great point.
Ooh. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, he did show his age a little bit. I hate to say it. I would really enjoyed what I watched, and he's really good, but the bones are showing a little bit there. The age is coming through in those promos. But I don't know. Like, for me, I said this earlier on, that this is the match I'm looking forward to. Like, this is the one out of all of them. I am confident this is going to be really good. And there's been at least some through line of story in comparison between the two. They've both put their best foot forward for me. Edge has always been solid with promos and coming out with this. And some of the stuff he's done, sort of the intensity, the commitment of what he's having towards Seth Rollins has been really good. We're seeing the different sides of the coin with Seth Rollins, where he's had this sort of laid back, jokey persona, but then when Edge is starting to get on his wrong side, it's twigging him a little bit. He's snapped, like he showed tonight, or last night rather, when the fans were chanting Edge, like, he's had his time. This is me talking. He really got irked by that, and I was like, nice touch. Like, I'm sitting back going, I can take that in, and I'm, as someone who would be wanting to watch SummerSlam or lean into SummerSlam, like, those little things would get me in. And it's like, they've made the effort to try and bring me into the story, or have some kind of background. The stuff in 2014, the Money in the Bank, the comparisons of their careers and where they are, how things are now. Seth Rollins getting in the way of the Edge of the Universal title, but then Rollins feeling the Edge is the stopping point for his Universal title run. A lot of it's which is good. And that's all I really want. But sometimes
at the same time, too, I feel like they're putting Seth Rollins on this Legend Killer run. That he's going to be the new Randy Orton Legend Killer, because this is the second or third person that icon that he's wrestled that he beats. Sting. We see who did he just wrestle last time? And put him on the shelf that was older, and then now we're getting this with Edge. It's just like, okay, so are we making this now Legend Killer Seth Rollins? I mean, that's the hard part I have with this. Is getting, and let's be honest, Edge looks his age, he does. Edge looks his age, and so it's like, you better beat him. I mean, you're like 10 years younger than this dude. You better beat him. There's no excuse for it. Same way with Bobby Lashley and Goldberg. Bobby Lashley should whip the shit out of Goldberg.
That should go 2 minutes at most. 2.
Yeah. And Bobby Lashley whipping the shit out of him.
Easily.
Even though Goldberg is now a native Texan, which, whatever.
You can't accept that. You cannot accept that he's winning this match. Although apparently, it says, William Alcea put on the Hammy Media group on Facebook, by the way. Apparently, the chat is that at one point it's been considered that Goldberg wins by involvement of his son. Could you imagine the chaos that would bring if that happens tonight?
People would lose their shit.
And you think people not like you think the CM Punk reaction was something else? Fuck me.
Oh my god. People would lose their shit.
People are changing channel before the show's even on, but
yeah, all right. Well, let me check out this AEW shit. I mean,
once on AEW now, fuck you guys.
Yeah,
bye. That would happen. I would be fully confident in saying that would be the end of the game. The game over for that. They can't do it. But yeah, but I don't know. It's a good little feud to have though. A nice little. I know you mentioned that it says had a Red Legend Killer run, but again, it's another big name that Rollins can put himself to. He had Sting, he's had Triple H. Some would say John Cena when he had the match at SummerSlam, which I think is a match that they could have next year at WrestleMania again. Seth Rollins and John Cena would be a great match to have. And then at Edge to his belt, like these are little things, and I think it's a bit different where Randy Orton made his name as a Legend Killer, where Seth Rollins still finding his way a little bit, but he seems to be getting his groove a bit now. For a few years he's been lost, but we've got this persona that fits him really well. Right. And I don't know, for me, it's just good all round. I can't, maybe I'm biased because I'm an old fan of Edge, and then Seth Rollins doing stuff that entertains me. Maybe I'm just sitting and going, I'm looking forward to this because it's good. But it just seems to be the right things at the right time for this feud. And they've really worked hard at this, and low key is the match. I think it's the big match of the weekend. Both of them can go. I think Edge is at the best. Edge keeps talking, and you see him almost in the best shape he's been in years, and he's had some great matches. I mean, we're not going to talk about the greatest match ever, but he's got it in him. And if anyone's going to make most of that, it's going to be Seth Rollins, who's arguably one of the best workers in the company right now. So I can't see this going totally wrong. It might go wrong, but you never know. But no, I'm feeling confident of what this match can do. And it's a SummerSlam match. It's the only one. It's the only one where I'm fully invested. And I feel bad for saying that because Reigns and Cena have done a somewhat good job on their own merit. But yeah. Anything you want to add to that? Anything you want to add to sort of Rollins?
No, I think, like I said, I think I've, am I intrigued by the match? Yes. Did they sell it for me last night? Not really. I mean,
do you not think the viscous liquid, whatever you want to call it, when Rollins got covered, do you not think it was a pretty good visual?
I mean, let's put it this way. Before it even happened, I knew it was going to happen because why? Seth Rollins was in white. He was dressed in complete white.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so he's getting. I said they're gonna do, and then they mentioned the Brood, and Edge mentioned the Brood, and
freaks come out at night.
And I'm like, okay, so he's gonna cover him in blood. So I mean, it wasn't even a surprise. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, I knew it was coming, and so it's like, to me, the only intrigue for me is the work. They didn't build the match themselves. I'm more interested in the work that these two guys are gonna do rather than the build that they had for it. No, like the only person who could probably talk me into a match despite their work is on AEW now, CM Punk.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, I've never been a fan of his work, but I've been a huge fan of his mic work. But he sells matches because, with his mic work, I'll watch a match for him.
He's a storyteller.
Because he's a storyteller. And, his work might not be the best or the most amazing, but man, his mic work will make you want to believe that he is. And so he's the only guy that really has ever did a promo or something to where I'm like, okay, I might want to watch this match. Everything else is, I don't care about the theatrics and I want to see how these two dudes fight each other in the ring. That's what I want to see. Like, for example, I love New Japan. I don't understand anything half these guys say because I don't speak Japanese. but you're pretty damn sure, right? I'm getting tickets to go to Dallas, especially now that they said Minoru Suzuki is coming to Dallas. Fuck yeah, I'm going to go see the Murder Grandpa.
Is Will Ospreay working that show?
Yeah, Will Ospreay, Lance Archer, and Murder Grandpa Minoru Suzuki. Hopefully he never hears this and doesn't come rip my fate off for calling him Murder Grandpa. But yeah, I mean,
that's a card and a half.
That's a card. I mean, that's the 25th, 26th, and then shout out to my boy Barrett Brown. He's wrestling on the 26th as well, and kind of gave maybe a little bit of the Iggy that maybe Minoru Suzuki might be on that 26th card. So I'll get to watch Barrett Brown as well as Lance Archer, Minoru Suzuki, and Will Ospreay on that card on that day on Sunday the 26th. And you know what? It's going to be, I think, most expensive ticket is $150 front row.
Yeah.
What the hell? I might do it. I might spend $150 for me and my son to go, so $300. I might do that just because, you know what? Fuck it. It's Murder Grandpa, and I want to be as close to that man as possible. And if there's a possible meet and greet, I'm going to do it because that has been my goal in my life since I've met New Japan Wrestling and seen it. Watched him beat the shit out of Asuka in that one match, and just the thing.
Oh, it's that match.
Yeah,
she took bumps for days and that.
Oh my god, so much so that what's her name, Suzuki's partner, tried to break it up, and he just beat the shit out of her too. And the other guy comes in and he beats the shit out of them.
Is that the one where it's like you hit with a clothesline? It looked like her head was coming clean.
Yeah, headbutt her and the sound.
Oh man, I remember watching that.
And I mean, just like I showed it last night to James, and he was just like, "Oh my god!" Because I was, we were waiting so I had to drop Jacob off because I had to go to a wedding to officiate a wedding last night. So we were at their house, and I said, he didn't know who Minoru Suzuki was, and so I was like, "Here, let me show this match. You know Asuka, right?" He goes, "Yeah, this is a match they had in Japan," and he's like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like he's like, "Did he murder her?" I was like, "This is why we call him Murder Grandpa." I mean, it's what he does. This is what he does, man. You do not mess with Murder Grandpa. And so, I'm going to be there. It's for me. I appreciate the work in the ring. The stories are great, fine or whatever. You're not going to sell me on, how you talk. You're going to sell me with what you do in the ring. I'm a less talk, more action kind of guy. That's just how I am. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate a good promo either, but man, that seems to be few and far between nowadays, Yeah.
Funny you mention that where we talk about the close of the show. Quick before I mention the close of the show, quick shout out to Pat McAfee with the line of the night. There's a 6'6" dirtbag running away. Like that one.
Yeah, no, I did like too. He's like, "Get the hell out of the way, Cole. Screw you. I'm gonna get up here and like when I was
doing his promo.
So we did have Nakamura and Boogs wrestle, and we had Aziz and wrestle. It's like they all wrestled for the first time, I think. So we had Boogs in the match. Boogs looked good. He did. Him and Nakamura together look good. And
threw Apollo Cruz about like nothing else. Or
something. I know, right? Like the backs and forth, and and everything like that. And then of course they win, and then the first thing Nakamura and Boogs do is go to the announce table where his guitar is and his hat is, and he starts standing up on the table. He's like, "Screw you, Cole, get out of the way. I'm gonna get up here and then rock out with him." And so like he's out rocking with him. There's that where Boogs had Apollo Cruz in the hold, and he was like playing the guitar with his leg. It was good stuff. I that's not one we talked about, but that was a good match. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
That was a fun one. I'll give him that.
And Pat McAfee is just his weight worth in gold on the commentary. He's made it enjoyable for some of this stuff. Sonic the Hedgehog, WrestleMania next year, Goldberg and his son versus Ray Dom.
Don't you fucking dare! No. I'm not having it because you know exactly what's going to happen. Goldberg and his son will just smash them in 2 minutes each. Goldberg will have Ray, and then his son will have Dom, and they'll just spear Jackhammer. And I'm like, I'm done. I've had enough of wrestling. Wrong family won that day. So I'm a bit hot about that.
Sonic, you got James mad at you, man. Look out now. Woo.
I'm just mad in general. The fact that we have to talk about this SmackDown that's why I'm kind of like, let's just glance over everything apart from the key points. again, mention it, Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Knox beat Natalya and Tamina for the third time in their tag team meetings collectively, and apparently it's still an upset.
Yeah. Shocker.
Not now. Not anymore. That's not once you win once, it's no longer an upset.
Yeah.
Let's get into the meat of it then. Let's do the last one. And if you've got any closing comments on the chat, get them in now because we're all kind of closing up soon. Roman Reigns and John Cena. Last night's promo. Did you get anything sort of different from what we've had? It seemed like John Cena was sitting the same points. Roman Reigns seemed to try to get a little bit going, but I don't know. It just didn't hit the same notes as I was hoping for. You know, they built all this. They could have got away with not actually having this promo. With the amount of, I don't know what it's like over in America right now, but BT Sport have done a great effort in sort of building this match. They've had YouTube videos, they've got advertisements, they're really pushing this sort of match and the importance of it. You know, Roman Reigns is sort of taking the crown from John Cena looking at 17 world titles, something that's not been spoken about enough until last night, which is shocking in itself.
Right.
But the thing I didn't like about it is they phoned home the finish. Roman Reigns was like, either I walk out as champion or leave WWE, and we absolutely know that's not happening.
Right.
So we gave away the finish, essentially, because anyone in their right mind will know that Roman Reigns is not leaving WWE.
Right.
Good luck with that. It's just not happening. And I like that. And even John Cena weirdly came out and pointed out that thanks to Roman Reigns, I'll be 17 more time world champion. Thanks to Roman Reigns, we won't have a incumbent Universal champion until WrestleMania Dallas, which is sort of like a weird touch, you know. So
yeah,
hang on, it's like that's not a baby face thing, even though people are going, yay! It's like you don't want that.
Yeah,
who wants that, John? Come on. It was so 6s and 7s for me. Like I don't know what I was supposed to get out of this.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just being a bit blunt on that. Maybe I'm just
it really
a bit harsh,
like
but
last week felt good. It was a good, and then like they rehashed last week. It's almost like they blew the spot early last week because like last week was a good go home promo for SummerSlam.
Yes,
and then they did it again, and they did it again. I mean, there was so many things that he did last week that he pulled out again this week, and you're just like, why? Why are you doing this again? You did it last week. You know, why could we not have had this last? Well, this is why we can't have nice things, James. This is why. They do this shit and then, just do that again. It'll be great. Just, tweak it a little bit. They did the same thing. And then you had this half-ass roll-up that, ends the night. And, nobody really counts because they're wanting people to do the 1, 2, 3. And nobody does it. And they're like, oh, my God. And it's like, okay, he did kick out, right? He did kick out.
There you go. Sir Jam said when he said it, I'm out. We know the winner now. These writers. He took Roman Reigns taking a shot at Daniel Bryan, which seemed a bit of a weird flex as well. But the 1, 2, 3, he didn't get a 3 on Roman Reigns.
No,
rolled him up, and then I don't know if Cole counted late or anything. He was like 1, 2, kicked out 3. It's like you fucking get 3. What are you talking about? Roman Reigns is fine, but it's not as interesting as it could have been for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a shame because it started off so well. Money in the Bank. Roman Reigns won, obviously. John Cena came out. Easy. This is maybe the thing I'm maybe driving. I say it every week almost. It's like, this is easy. This is such an easy match to book. You're looking at John Cena, the biggest name in Hollywood currently when you think of things like the movies he's doing, Suicide Squad, coming back and doing this match. Easy matches to build. And at the same time, they're struggling to have a story for this. It's like, no, it's there. John Cena is coming for Roman Reigns. 17 world championships. Roman Reigns wants to establish himself as the guy. You don't have to have weeks of promos. You can just have we can have 1 or 2 here and there and let the rest do itself, like BT, the USA, the bump, Twitter. The intrigue's already there, so you don't have to try so hard. So when you have these promos that are coming in the night before SummerSlam, it feels so disjointed because they're just going over covered track. They're just doing the same thing again, and it's not engaging story that way. You know, the credit I can give for Edge and Rollins is that they try something. They've put elements into their story. Yeah, sometimes it's not the best, you know, the Brood stuff and all that.
Right.
At least they've made an effort to kind of put layers upon layers on the story because it needs it. You know, it's not a random thing. This is slowly built towards Money in the Bank, and then they've had a through line of why this match matters and what's going on. Whereas it was simple. It's like this is the biggest match you're going to have this year. You can let everyone. It's almost like you want to let everyone else do the work for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, have pundits talk about this. People like us talking about the match. You know, the bump, as I said, the bump and all the things. You'd have talking head segments. Pat McAfee is right there.
Yeah.
Best guy to do it. Best guy to build this up is Pat McAfee. And you could have him do. You remember? I don't know. Like, do you know that UFC when they have like big events, and they'd have Joe Rogan do like a talking head on the match. Say this is the big. Pat McAfee is a perfect guy for that. Absolutely perfect guy to do those things. So I don't see why they couldn't do something like that, or I don't know, like something unique about it. This is a good chance to do it because you don't have to put effort in, but everyone else can gravitate to it,
right? Because
it does the work for you because everyone gravitates to the match, and it's the main event. It will be the main event. There's no other match on this card that can be a main event, and if there is, it's a failure. But you know, like. Maybe they looked at the Punk thing and thought, you know what, this is the biggest match we've got at SummerSlam. Let's just get it on there and ride the wave. And and for me, it was like, great, but you've got to try and make something out of this. Roman Reigns saying, if I lose, I'm leaving, isn't that.
No.
You played your hand.
Because we know it's bullshit. Yeah.
If you turn around and said, like, if I beat you, you're gone. You never do. Like, that's a bit more relevant. You know, like, sorry, Cena, you don't get 17. Because you're gone.
Right.
You have your chance. Like that for me would have been a bit more like, I'm watching that because this could be the last time Cena gets a world title match. Or he will be 17-0. Like that's a better move than just saying I'm leaving because you've signposted the finish. And then, so what? If you know the finish to it's like Vet said, if you know the finish to a film, why are you watching it?
Right.
Why would you even pay the money at the cinema to go see it? You know what happens. You know the finish. Almost like your viewing habits here.
Right. Well, maybe for me, I mean, my degree's in broadcasting too, radio, TV, movie production. So, like, I want to know how they get to that point. I don't mind knowing the ending, but I want to know the story that they tell to get there. So, like, if from whatever I'm thinking, you know, trailers and stuff, if I'm able to piece together the story from the trailers, I want to know the end so that I can go, is it going to be worth my time to see how they get there with that story? You know, and if it's a fucked ending, I'm like, why the fuck do I want to watch that? You know, like I don't want to see that story. That's part of the reason why I do that sometimes. And usually that's for movies that I'm on the fence on. You know, if I'm on the fence on it, I hear the end and I'm like, fuck that, I'm not gonna go see it. Or I'll go see it. Just because, you know, but like things like Lord of the Rings. Obviously I know this. I've read the book, so I know kind of what happens, but I want to see how they're telling that story. You know, and what they're doing about it, you know, because these are massive books and they're making a movie out of it. You know, the Marvel movies, I want to watch to see how they're doing it because I know what the comics say, but how are they going to incorporate that into the movie form? You know, these are things that I'm like, okay, I'm in to watch, you know, for those reasons. You know, Suicide Squad, you know, Justice League, you name it. Now, James Bond, same thing. I don't want to know the story on that one because they tell such a good story.
Yeah.
You know, same way with Top Gun. I want to see that just for the intrigue of 30 years later, Maverick, what's he doing? Like, why is he where he's at and what is he doing? I don't want to hear the end of that story because I want to see the story they tell to the end. You know, those are movies that I'm like pretty set on. So, you know, that's more of where I'm at with it. I don't want to. It's those iffy movies of like, should I spend my money on this or should I wait till it comes out on streaming? You know, like The Tomorrow War, which is on Amazon Prime. You know, I got the end of the movie because I was like, well, I want to see if it's worth my time to sit down. I'm paying for Amazon, so technically it's free. But I want to see if it's going to be worth me sitting for an hour and a half, 2 hours to take up my time because I don't have an hour and a half to 2 hours. I've got work and things to do, and so sometimes I might have an hour at night to watch something. before I go to bed. So is it going to be worth my time? You know, those are the things that are important. I have to prioritize my time of things I want to watch. So that's why I do it. This wrestling, same with Free Guy, Sonic. I'm the same boat. I've been avoiding the Free Guy spoilers because I want to see it. You know, it looks good. You know, it looks good. I might be going today with my girlfriend, her youngest son, and my son because it looks good. You know, I mean, unique movie. I want to check it out. So, but you know, wrestling doesn't do that for me. Wrestling does not. I want to know what happens because now it's like the only in AEW, even still, like the vet says, they do some good things, but then you do this stupid shit on top of it where you're like, what the fuck are you thinking? You know, like last night, let's be honest. If they wanted to, AEW could have put a spike into the heart of WWE after CM Punk if they'd have put on some decent matches. You know, they didn't do it. You know, that's the whole point. Yeah, Sir Jam.
They had them right there.
They had them right there. And if they would have just put on a decent show, they put on a fucking AEW dark show after CM Punk. Let's be honest. Yeah. That was a fucking AEW dark show.
And they did it because they can.
Yeah. You put some good shit out there after you have CM fucking Punk come back and join All Elite Wrestling, and you
the
put
game's
some
over
shit like that. You would have put a dagger in the heart of WWE. I'm not saying you're killing them, but you'd have made them bleed profusely if you'd have done something decent.
Yeah,
decent. You didn't have to put on a 5-star match, but hey, have some names. Sting and Darby Allin come out. Have Lance Archer just throwing people around. Have, whatever the thing that you've been doing. By the way, apparently Lance Archer owes Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky some whoopings after what happened Wednesday night, by the way. So fuck you, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. You're not getting any of my money. I love how Dan Lambert is back in the ring, and this time he's got Junior Dos Santos. And then Lance was like, fuck that shit. I'm going to come out here anyway. And I'm thinking, okay, how's this gonna work? Like,
he's trying.
Yeah,
Lambert's trying.
I'm going, okay, Darren Oslowski and Junior Dos Santos, like, holy shit. Okay, Lance, I know you're a badass, but come on.
Good luck with Junior Dos Santos, the nicest badass.
I know, right? And then so when Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky came out, I was like, oh, okay. And that was the whole thing. Are they with America Top Team? Are they not? It was a good story. But they do some good stuff, and then they just do this dumbest shit sometimes, and I'm just like, come on, guys, come on, you can do better than this. Do better than this. And that's where last night could have been. It could have been some stuff like that, and it could
have been open for tonight.
Yeah,
it would have been a good show. I mean, I think that's the takeaway out of this show tonight is that SmackDown could have done more. They knew they should have done more, and AEW didn't do enough after CM Punk because they knew they didn't have to.
Right.
So I think we should kind of close it off on there. Is that it's going to be this feels such like a lackluster build to a SummerSlam, and that's such
for a SummerSlam. For a SummerSlam, that's the thing.
This doesn't feel like a SummerSlam.
No, it doesn't. It feels like it's just another match. It just feels like another pay-per-view that they're trying to get in.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out tonight. We are literally hours away. Was it 3? Is it 11? Was it your time?
It's
6 o'clock.
It's 2:30 right now.
2:30. But when does it start? Is it 5 or 6?
I don't even know. I'm not watching.
Exactly. I don't even pay attention. I'm going to watch it tomorrow morning when I get up in the morning because I'm not staying up for it. Yep. Sorry.
I may see if James will let me borrow his feed
network key
from Peacock. Yeah, let's see. From Paradise, Nevada. That's where SummerSlam is at. What time is SummerSlam? 8 p.m. Eastern time, so 7 p.m. Central. Hell. So 5 hours from now-ish.
Thank you. I'm not going to stay up for that, but no, it's just a lackluster build. It'll be interesting to see how they recover from this. It's a harsh thing to say, but it's going to be a recovery job from the SmackDown, not SmackDown, but SummerSlam. Hours away from now. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy SummerSlam. They're probably a good show, but at the same time, they've tried so hard. Sir Jam put in a great comment. It's the first year where I'm like, oh yeah, SummerSlam's on tonight. Almost forgot about it. Never the case. Well, this is it. For the past few years, I've treated this like a WrestleMania event, and I've not done it now. shockingly how they've not matched.
Right.
This is the first. They've got a stadium for this.
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
The new Allegiant Stadium, which, by the way, Allegiant Stadium, the Raiders have said that you have to have a positive COVID. You either have to have a proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test to attend Raiders games. So does that apply to this event? That's
probably.
The question. That's the question: is it going to apply to this event?
I would say so, because I think they had like a mask thing. Funnily enough, they had the mask thing in Chicago last week, but no one paid attention to that last night. No one got time. But
Vegas does too. Vegas does too. They have a new mask mandate now again too. So
I don't mind. I don't mind it, to be fair. Like I'm double jabbed now. I'm vaccinated up to the max, so I'm good. But I don't mind doing, like, for the time it takes to do a lateral flow test over this way, it takes like 10 minutes. So I'm like, cool. Go on the NHS website, click, boom, there you go, and you just walk up to there you go. Done that this morning. Fine. Like that's a discussion for another time. I know there's a lot to get into in terms of like that, but I don't mind it as such. It's not bad. Yeah. It is what it is. If it means I get to see a show and it takes 10 minutes of my day before I go see it, then cool. I'm fine with that. No problem with that. But it's interesting that's another effect on the show. Like, this is a stadium event that doesn't feel like a stadium event, and they're probably going to fill it, and they've got to try harder. Like, fans will be there. It's not going to be as big as the big crowd as they could get. Celebrities aren't going to be involved in this as much as they would like. Logan Paul apparently reappearing on this one. It's a weak SummerSlam. It's a sad note to close on. We should be like, this should be a Smack Attack where we're like, SummerSlam's in a few hours, guys. It's going to be a great end. What we looking forward to, it's going to be great. And we're sitting there picking the bones of a SmackDown where we're questioning what their creative was, what their response was, knowing that CM Punk. We spent more time talking about. We're talking to Chris about his title match tonight. Then we have SmackDown and SummerSlam, and
which is next week. Yeah, I mean, his match is next week, and
which I'll put up just now actually, because you know what, it's much appreciated this time. It was such a great. I hope we get him on again, because he's such a nice chat. Really nice guy.
And he messaged me as soon as he got off the show. Hey, thanks for letting me come on. He said sorry about my headphones died, and so sorry about the echo. And
don't worry about that. We'll get him back on again, because he's a lovely guy, and I hope he wins next week. I really do. I really hope he gets the title next week. And maybe that's the note we should end on this one. Is I hope he gets the championship effort for that. So we'll get you back on, Chris, if you are watching this.
If you win, Chris, come on. If you win, come on the show, and we can
with the belt.
With the belt,
show us that belt. Show us the shiny. Always like a bit of shiny on our shows. So if that's, we got any other business before we close off? I think we've covered quite a lot.
We did. I've got our mental health tip for the week here from Jackson Stone, of course. And so mental health tip number 30: you belong here. Whoever you are, all that you are, you belong here, from Jackson Stone. If you journal, here's a journal prompt for you. How can you make sure to fill your cup before giving it to others? Which is good. Guys, a lot of times we give and we give and we give and we give to other people, but we don't do anything to give back to ourselves. We don't fill our cup. We don't feel refreshed. And that's a way to get burnout, and you can become burned out on things. People always ask me, man, why are you giving to people? You give so much. How do you fill your cup? And for me, I'm simple. It doesn't take much for me. I like chilling. I like watching TV shows, movies, reading books, and that's good. If I can have some chill time, man, that fills me up, and I'm good to go. And then honestly, for me, like doing things like mobile pantry, doing things like this today fills my cup. Because I'm giving back to my community, because I'm sharing what. I know. Sorry, Chris was apologizing for that. But anyway, for me, filling my cup also is by giving back. I mean, do I have a lot? No, but if I'm able to give to people who are in need, I'm going to say, go ahead, let me do that. And that fills my cup with that. So, that's how I fill my cup. And you have to find that right thing for you. And so that's how you need to go about doing that with your mental health. So as Jackson says, I hope you have a fantastic week. Take good care of yourself. Much love. You are loved. P.S. Thanks for being here, Jackson Stone. So that's from my man, Jackson Stone. We still are efforting him to come on the show, talk wrestling, talk mental health. By the way, I'll wait for James to get back on that one. So Becky tonight, Sir Jam, Becky tonight or no? I'm going to say no. they had the opportunity to do it at Money in the Bank. She was in Fort Worth. She had a picture standing outside of the stadium, and they did not pull the trigger on that. Then, with the first live crowd that WWE had at a pay-per-view in Texas, they could have done that, and they didn't do it. So Jam, I'm going to say no, because SummerSlam has proven to be so lackluster, no involvements whatsoever. So, James, I was answering Sir Jam's question about Becky Lynch after finishing Jackson Stone, but which, by the way, I forgot to mention, Jackson Stone, speaking of Jackson Stone, he did win the MPX Heavyweight Championship last week. He is now the champ at MPX. He is carrying some gold. So we definitely are going to have to maybe try to get him on next week or the week after and bring that belt. We're going to tell him, bring that belt. Bring it on. Yeah, baby. We'll see his gold on here a little bit as well, too. So, yeah, anyway. So, I said no because she was in Fort Worth at Money in the Bank, took a picture out front, teasing that she was going to be there, and they didn't do it for the first live crowd back from WWE.
I mean, I can see the logic because of what happened with CM Punk last night, where this is a good time to bring her back. But fuck me, this has been a dumpster fire of a build. Like, I would keep her far away from this. I really would. And I would love to see her back. I think it's time to see her back. But the way they've just treated this SummerSlam, keep her away. Save her. Really, like, and I mean that, like, save her, because she deserves better. This is a SummerSlam that's lackluster built. The interest isn't there. It's not going to touch CM Punk last night. It just absolutely isn't. So save it, because she could get her own sort of build, our own moment. It's not good. I feel bad for saying it. It's not going to be as big as that, but people will be up for that, and it should be something that you should sort of plant the seeds for. Take a leaf out of AEW's book and just try and bring this in a little bit. Other question from Cujo62: will NXT be a better show? Hard to say. Really hard to say, because we don't know their mindset just now. They're all over the shop right now. They don't know. They're changing their structure. They're changing. They've cancelled. They've ended their commitment with Full Sail University, so they're committing to the Performance Center now for shows, or the Capital Wrestling Center, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, and so then also they're going back to taping shows. Yeah, they're not going to do live, as often. So
I think we'll learn a lot on Tuesday. We'll learn a lot on Tuesday when they come back from that. That's as soon as they're going to make the changes. As soon as TakeOver's done, NXT's changing. So
NXT. And I think too, you have the dual face Karrion Kross. I mean, they keep bringing him up to Raw, but then they have him on NXT, and and for Raw he doesn't work, but for NXT he's a monster. And it doesn't make sense. You got this two-faced character, which I think someone brought up earlier in the chat, and I forgot who that was, and I'm sorry, but I'm borrowing your thing. That doesn't work either. So the only way NXT is a better show, Cujo62, I think, is if they just decide, fuck it, we're going to blow this thing out.
Yeah.
If everything's changing, let's just blow it out. Let's go nuts. And that's the only way. But let's be honest, the bar's not that high right now.
Yeah.
The main roster, SummerSlam, the bar is very, very low. So it could be a better show without much work if they just go, you know what? If they're changing it all on Tuesday, fuck it. We're going to just blow this thing out of the water. Yeah.
Can't cross the monster now. He's jobbed to Hardy. True. I mean, this match with Samoa Joe has been a hard sell because of that, which is a shame, because he's done so well in this. One last question, just following up on the Becky Lynch thing. Sir Jam saying, when do you think she's back? Royal Rumble? I reckon Survivor Series is a fair place to bring her back. The point where she broke out was the Survivor Series build a few years ago, so I think it'd be quite fit to bring her back around about then. I think that'd be the right place to do it, providing that they've got a women's division that's just not a mess for her to come back to. Because that's the other thing, is like, this women's division is not to snuff, then you can't do it.
Right?
You could, but you're treating it as like a recovery job, and you kind of want to set her up similar to CM Punk was set up in AEW, where there's a lot of matches ready for her on cable. Right. It's been interesting to see when she goes back. Anyway, SummerSlam's coming along the corner. I hope, if you are going to watch it, I hope you enjoy it. I'm not going to try and slam it down too much for that there. If you are going to watch it, I hope you do enjoy it. I hope it is a good show for you. I hope it's worth the time that you spend to watch it for that there. But like this show, like the Smackdown, I hope the night's been worth the show. We've felt this was some good content. We've had the vet, we've had Cruz on here. We've talked about the CM Punk thing, SummerSlam. We tried to talk about SmackDown begrudgingly, but we got there. So I hope this has been a good couple of hours. If you've really enjoyed the show, we're currently live. I don't know what the status is of what we're going to be doing on this. If I'm perfectly honest, I don't want to give away too much for it because when we went to Realm last week, I didn't know it was going to happen as quick as that. I thought we were going to do a couple of live shows so I could break it down, and we were straight on there. Then the Realm, if you followed the Realm, I would recommend you going to Vince Russo's YouTube feed and Twitter to get the full story about Realm. But we did go live. Things did not go a plan in the terms of people getting in the way. As far, I don't know the full story, but it sounds like people were actively trying to stop it from working. So we're back to the old structure for now, which is quite nice because I think we picked a good weekend to come back to it in the sense. So it's got its positives in that sense. So I don't know when we'll go back on Realm. We will be going on the Realm Network once it comes live, so we will try and keep you posted on when that happens. Hopefully it's not going to come out of nowhere. We'll hopefully have a couple of live shows and we can kind of ease you into that there. And if you are we'd love to keep you on the journey for that because the live chat's been one of the best parts of this, and I would hate to see that go. If I'm perfectly honest with that, I've been vocal about that. I said it on the Realm Network as well when we did the show last week. It was I missed the live chat, so it's nice to have you all back. It's been a pleasure to have you all back on that there. And if you are going to be in the live chat, get involved. We always love it if you've watched it for the first time, you've seen us get involved with everyone. So don't be afraid to make yourself known when we do this here. But if you don't want to do it in the live chat, if you want to get some other means, we've got the mail sack. We always like to do a mail sack segment when we can. So all the content's down at the bottom here. You can tweet us at SmackAttackHMG on Twitter. Email us directly, smackattackhammymedia@gmail.com. You can find us on the Hammy Media Discussion Group Facebook page. You can find us there. Just search for that, and there's so much content on there. We've got pick'ems, live chats for pay-per-view events. Willie Mellis here with some of the best news content around. I say it every week. Some of the best news content around months in advance on some things. So get in touch with that. If you want to be on the know, in the know, ahead of everyone else, every other fan, that's the place to be for that there as well. We've got.
Did I say something about a fantasy football league? I got tagged in a post about fantasy football league.
Is there a fantasy football league? What kind of is it? NFL or is it Premier League?
Oh, no, it's not going to be Premier League. You dingus.
Not interested. I'm out. I'm not even in it. I'm out. I was going to do a Premier League one. I was thinking about doing a Premier League one, but I didn't think it was much
real quick on the Premier League. Fuck Arsenal.
Yes.
God damn it.
Shite.
God damn it. They are making me just want to pull my hair out. Oh my
Brentford
God.
on day one. Brentford's first ever Premier League game, by the way. And
I know. Yeah, I know.
Hang on, let me just check quickly. Who have Arsenal got this weekend?
I don't know. I haven't even about to look. I'm so still pissed at last week.
Oh, Jesus. You got Chelsea tomorrow. Fuck. Just bin it. Just bin this season already. You've got Chelsea, West Brom in the Cup. Then oh my God, you've got Man City.
Yeah.
None of these. Norwich should be an all right fixture, and Burnley. But then you've got Spurs, Brighton, Crystal.
I can't say that anymore. They
every fixture pesh.
I can't say that. Yeah, Arsenal, exactly.
Arsenal. Meanwhile, Everton scrambling, 4 points on the table right now. We got a good win last week against Southampton, and then we drew with Leeds away from home, which I don't think's a bad thing.
No,
not the worst result at Ellen Road for that. There, even though Leeds got smashed by Man United, but won't talk about that. But so Arsenal is shocking.
It drove me.
Oh my God! I was like, I watched that game last Friday, and I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Fuck you.
Arsenal, fuck it. So Arsenal being Arsenal. Although you got Odegaard in.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard's going to be helping you out in midfield, and then Aaron Ramsdale. Sound bad about Aaron Ramsdale, but if you're not familiar with football, Aaron Ramsdale has been part of a relegated team for the past 3 seasons. Past 2. Sheffield United, Bournemouth, and I think he might have got relegated the season before that as well. I don't quite know. But they brought in a goalkeeper that's been relegated in at least 2 of the 3 last season. So well done, guys. Have fun with that. 2 seconds. No, I'll come back to that, actually. No one will be there. So that's us. I think that's been a good close to the show.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm happy with that there.
I told you to fuck off, so yeah.
As you do. But absolute pleasure as always to talk to you despite that, John. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you to the live chat. Lively as always. The live chat in every sense of the word. So thank you so much for being part of that as well. We will look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Enjoy AEW next week. Raw, SmackDown, whatever you want. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next week for another edition of the Smack Attack. Cheery! Holiday! Woo!